extremely strong. So our players are ready. We're going to go into game 1 now. It's lobotomy between Dewalt and Mihu. Okay, in the top left, our blue PROTOSS. We do have the one and only... Oh, not PROTOSS, our Terran. It's Mihu.
Don't assume his race. It might get cancelled.
Oh, and in the bottom right, you knew he was going to be up to no good. It's Dewalt. And I don't think this is a... Yeah, this is not forward gate. This is... I think he's going to put it at the... middle base, top middle, not in the natural. Yeah, right there, exactly.
Maybe, yeah. I think you might be right. That'd be my educated guess as well.
Yeah, so as Zero was scrolling through the map, I know there's a lot of unbuildable terrain. Okay, well, wait a minute. I think... Did Dewalt miss time? Because this is not an 8 pylon. This is a 9 pylon.
This is a bit wonky. Is he going to 9-9 then? Is this going to be the 2-gate game?
It could be.
Is this gonna be the 2-gate game already? Just right out of the gate? Like, pun intended?
It could be. That would be amazing. And 2-gate is ridiculously strong.
I think it is.
It is. Oh, it's not.
Oh, Caster's Curse. Look at that.
Well, this is still going to be a lot of pressure. Like I said, this map is low ground. Now, that is an interesting Rax position. I will admit, I have not played this map. But the way it is positioned, it looks like a depot on the top right can wall in, but a bottom depot is not Zealot tight. I guarantee you it is not Zealot tight. Now, that probe did not gas steel, but I think the intention here was to make this guy waste money on a refinery
I think so.
And not build Marines.
Yeah, and now he's going to be way more susceptible to this early pressure. And if he really wants to, keep this SCV chasing his probe as well, it's just another few minerals lost mining time here. Just keeping this SV. You can sometimes get another SCV to come off the line as well.
Yep, there it is. Now, again, before this series started, I think I remember watching a lot of games where PROTOSS did do Zealot pressure like this, and Mihu just had stellar defense. So initially I was questioning this move, but based on this Rax, I feel like this is, if there's a game where Zealot pressure will work, it's got to be this one. I mean, this Rax is light years away from the command center. The SCVs cannot help that easily. I
mean, the second Marine only just started as the Zealot was starting to descend the ramp. Like, this is a super late timing of infantry available to Mihu. He's got a couple of SCVs going on to work on this pylon, though. They will kill that in about a minute now.
Yeah, SCVs actually have surprising DPS onto the pylon. It will also force the second Zealot to not be in the mix in this initial fight. Otherwise, he's going to lose his pylon. There you go. So we've got a micro battle. And look, okay, actually, that depot's doing a really good job.
Yeah, this is going pretty good so far. And I think he's not really lost a great deal. As long as he can just make sure he can maintain the HP on these Marines and not trade too many of them for these Zealots and keep his infantry advantage, he's actually going to kind of weather the storm here.
Oh, yeah, that one Marine was the first Marine he lost. Like, this is why I was hesitant to say, like, this is a good build versus Mihu, because he never loses his Marines. Like, I can't believe that this is the only damage he's taken.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. He nearly losing one. Oh, the Zealot glitched out there for a second. Actually didn't get the punch on the left Marine, and now he's still got all these Marines left alive to deal with this goon that's just popped out.
Well, this goon can one-shot, what, 2 of those Marines?
Yeah, 2.
2 of them are going to be full health. So I think the goon can win this fight, but not if he shoots the full health Marine initially. There goes 2 of the Marines immediately. But he's on the brink of losing his gateway.
Yeah, and that pylon is softened up quite significantly as well, so it won't take him too long to kill that.
Yeah, SCV's going to die. He needs another goon to pop out. And it did, and now actually Mihu's probably going to lose his entire army. And that's a big deal.
Actually, this is a really big deal because this is all the tankiness that he's got. Those Marines are like really important in soaking up shots from those Dragoons and buying time. And now he hasn't anything afforded to him. He might try and put some pressure with this Vulture, see if he can keep these Dragoons like pinned down. He wants to get the kill on this other. He gets the kill on the one Dragoon at least, and he gets the Vulture out alive. That's actually a big deal.
Yeah, he gets it out, but it only has 5 health. That means that Probe can kill it if he can catch it. But it did buy time that these goons probably can't get past this bunker. He's going to try and take down the SCV. I mean, he's going to get the SCV, but overall, okay, there goes the Vulture. So that didn't really do much at all. And actually, I actually thought the gate was going to die, but now he's held it, and we're probably going to go into a normal-ish game.
This is crazy. Yeah, it's so wild to me. Like, at first, I was like really impressed by how well Mihu was holding that, and now Dewalt's kind of flipped the script entirely and made it look like this has gone his way entirely.
Yeah, one thing that Mihu didn't do was he didn't pull SCVs while going for that gate. I mean, I see a lot of pros when they go for a kill on the gate, they pull like 3 or 4 SCVs to make sure that they have a buffer. Oh, he has range. He's just gonna run by it. He knows that he killed a lot of the Marines. So how many can actually be in there? Channeling his inner ghost to dark. He's in the main now.
Oh wow, this is really bad news for Mihu. He has still got a couple of Marines to come down, but if he loses too many SCVs, this is going to be really significant damage to him.
Already really significant because he spots that this guy doesn't have a command center. He's killing all of the Marines again, and he sees that Mihu's still mining gas. However, you know, we've got full vision. I don't see a starport. I don't see a factory, but Dewalt is probably thinking like, dude, what the hell? You don't have a command center? There's only one factory? Have you proxied a factory? Are you hiding a second one somewhere?
Yeah, it's actually a little bit strange. Like, he's going to be thinking there's some missing money here. What's actually going on in this game? It might make him a little bit paranoid.
Well, again, another tank falls, and this is getting really bad. I mean, Mihu has really been, has had his build extremely messed up. I mean, he's floating 700 minerals, and that's just not something you do, and 500 gas. So his build is absolutely destroyed, and Dewalt, as long as he doesn't overreact to, you know, these factories that don't exist, he should be in a good position.
Well, that's a really big mine hit, though, on those 2 Dragoons. They're so weak now. There's not a tank popping out to take full advantage of that, unfortunately, but still, though, having these 2 Dragoons softened up that much does put a little bit of a dent in the pressure potential here from Dewalt.
And Vulture is going to run by right now. It looks like it looks like he got cleaned up by some probes and a single goon. And this pressure, I mean, it's extremely annoying because Mihu built 2 Vultures after his 2 tanks, and now there's nothing to push back these 4 goons. The bunker might actually die.
Yeah, the bunker actually might die. The SCV sliding. It's not Tosis SCV. Oh no.
yeah, this is what happens in my game. Is SCV just bounces. Luckily, it gets in there in time. It will end up saving the day.
Yeah, tank also popping out. Oh. There's only 2 mines here protecting this tank. They need to be very careful not to overextend. He's just target firing the bunker at the moment. I'm not sure if he's got enough DPS to kill this. He wants to try and bait the tank out maybe, but I don't think he's going to be getting too much done there.
Both players trying to bait. First, Mihu trying to bait into the mines, but Dewalt not falling for it. And Dewalt already has a reaver, dude. I can't believe that he didn't go observer after seeing that there was 3 on gas for so long. I really thought that he would have suspected it's drops or his hidden factory or something, but instead he just goes straight reaver. And with Mihu being on 1 factory for so long, this could be devastating damage. There's also no mines in the main. There's no turrets in the main.
Well, this should have been cut down to 1 gateway production. Instead, he's been powering off 2 gateways for quite some time now, so he's got a much stronger infantry force than he would otherwise have.
That is a curious move. That I don't know what the intention was with that, because that looks like you're trying to, you know...
Maybe he's trying to make him think it's DTs?
Yeah, exactly. And, like, panic build double turret or something. But Mihu has not fallen for it. At least not just yet.
Always going to be this depot from the high ground is actually a nice little consolation prize here for Dewalt, if you can get this.
I don't think Dewalt's gonna... Yeah, I mean, he's microing more than I remember. Like, generally, in my experience versus Dewalt, like, he does a little bit of pressure, but then he kind of just leaves you be. But he's just trying to micro, out multitask huge. I guess he's trying to draw units to the natural so he can make this work. And there is no defense. I mean, it's a turret, and that's it. Mihu's going to come down with his tanks and vultures now. Ooh, can he channel his inner snow? The answer is not yet, at least.
Ooh. Yeah, he's a little bit hesitant with his reaver play. That has to be said. I certainly don't think he's as confident with that as someone like Snow would be. I think everyone can agree to that.
Yeah, Snow would have killed the whole army. plus killed the turret.
Yeah. And then clapping with his feet after the game.
Yeah, you watch the video and he's actually just playing with his feet while doing all that. Now, we've got the Reaver drop into the natural. Okay, I don't think it bugged out. I think the SCVs that got targeted We're out of range, so no connections, but Dewalt's going to expand behind this. He's still in a fine position. He's got 4 gate with a lot of goons and reavers to make sure that Mihu cannot get out of his base.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about... Do you think this is a really strong position for Mihu here, or do you think Dewalt's kind of got him like where he wants him at the moment? I mean, he is containing him pretty effectively, and he has like whittled down the tank count a little bit.
I think this is okay for Mihu, just because I know how strong Mihu's like 4-fact, 5-fact is. I imagine he's gonna not have any trouble getting out of his base, take a 3rd base, it'll be late. And because this was a 9 gate, you know, Dewalt's econ isn't exactly fantastic either. So it's not like, you know, it's not like Dewalt is 130 supply, right? It's 100 to 75. So I think Terran will just camp, get his 3rd base, get his 4th base. But actually, there's 6 factories already.
Yeah, I think I kind of like this from Mihu, actually. I think this is maybe the way he wants to play. And the curve of the game has been slowed down significantly. This is like a 11-minute third that's just getting up and finally getting a transfer going to it. So pretty slow timing still due to the early aggression from Dewalt. So I don't know, Mihu's looking pretty strong, actually.
Well, shuttle with speed, with reaver, just sitting out here, double reaver in fact, is extremely hard to get out of as Terran. And also, like I said, lobotomy doesn't really have that much buildable terrain, so it's going to be hard to like turret push. I don't even know if you can turret push farther than where he's already pushed. So this arc is going to be really annoying to deal with.
I kind of feel like maybe he should just get like 4 Goliaths out if he can right now.
Well, you would think Goliaths would be the answer, but if you hit a reaver shot, all of a sudden your Goliaths get almost immediately killed off by goons. But it looks like he will actually push this back with the support of the racks for vision, and Dewalt is just going to give it up for now. And if we kind of compare production, Mihu's got more production. In fact, it's 6-fact versus just 5 gates.
Yeah, this is a small timing here for Mihu to start to exploit and start to explode out onto the map, and he can expand behind this and play a little bit more passively, but he could also be aggressive and really push Dewalt here and challenge his micro ability while also expanding behind that as well.
Always crazy to me how close Mihu's supply is versus these PROTOSS players. Also remember, he lost so many Marines in the beginning. He lost, he didn't actually lose that many SCVs, but he lost his first Vulture. He continued to mine with 3 on gas forever. He floated 800 minerals before building a command center. Yet here he is within 15 supply. I mean, it's pretty incredible. This, like I said, the Reavers are still going to be super annoying, though. There's going to go the turret. And actually, Mihu's doesn't care about this Reaver on the right side. He's just pushing. He's going to catch all these goons.
He's found a wedge between the goons here and really caught them out of position. Dewalt caught with his pants down here, and like Mihu's taking full advantage of the situation. Okay, he's got a small retreat path here, so he's going to get out with a few of these Dragoons. But honestly, like losing that many Dragoons at this stage in the game, I'm a little bit worried for Dewalt.
Yeah, Dewalt with the lack of production, and I don't think he ever got an observer in the main. So all he sees from Mihu is, oh, this guy's acting like he's expanding, but we know that this is not an expansion. This is actually a 7-fact, and with supplies this close, this could be like a game-ending attack. Here we go. So we're going to try and do something with this Reaver. I don't know what happened to the second one. Oh, there it is. It unloads with low health, but he does get 3 tanks. Huge shot.
Huge detonations on those Scarabs, absolutely massive damage, but there's just so much Terran here. I mean, those Zealots don't even have speed yet. It's going to be really hard for Dewalt to trade. He's currently actually behind in supply, just barely at the moment. Overall, this is really going Mihu's way.
Yeah, we did have a snow moment there where the micro was incredible with the Reaver and a lot of floated minerals for Dewalt, but he needs to ramp his production up and start actually producing, because even supplies, Terran is going to win these types of battles. However, Terran did lose a lot of tanks in there, so I think actually Dewalt can hold, but the fact that there's no speed on these Zealots makes me think that these are just dead weight.
Yeah, and he's gets pretty good shut off on these tanks, but the Vulture's now target firing the Reaver every time it pops out. We'll be cleaning that up, but there's just barely enough Protoss here to clean up the rest of Mihu's army. So actually, Dewalt kind of resetting the game state, maybe just barely enough here that he can get his 4th online and make this game go the distance.
That was actually a really easy cleanup. It makes me wonder
is that allowed? Is that allowed? He heard me.
He heard me.
Yeah, we saw you, Dewalt. We saw you.
We saw you.
We saw you. That's not allowed in tournaments.
Oh, the Reaver died this time without getting a shot off. Okay, I was about to say, does Mihu have scan? And I do remember he does, and he cleans up those DTs. Now, Dewalt is taking a 4th base, and Mihu's taking his own 3rd base, and he's trying to SimCity it off a little bit there, but okay, he's going to have delayed 2-2 coming in. He's got +1 already done.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of an interesting, because for a moment there, I thought Mihu was just going to steamroll Dewalt, and I was actually a little bit worried for him. But now, I think we actually might have a real tug of war on our hands.
Yeah, I think the fact that those reavers got like 5 tank kills is what really sealed it. If he doesn't get those tank kills, I think probably the tanks just overwhelmingly win versus that Protoss army. Actually, Dewalt is going crazy here. He's double expanding, 5 bases. I mean, if I was him and I want to fight like that, I would be thinking the same thing also, but supplies are actually very, very close.
Yeah, this is kind of a wild game. I actually didn't expect it to go like this, especially in game number 1 with the proxy gate. So I have a feeling we're going to have an absolute wild best of 7 series here, Nyoken, and I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah, this could be a banger. I'm curious, like, what the end game techs are going to be for Dewalt. Like, so far this game, it looks like it's just going to be Templar, but will he start mixing in something like Arbiters or Carriers? Now, the one thing about Lobotomy that I did notice is once it gets to this point where Terran is kind of just sitting around the 3rd and 4th base, they're going to get the 4th base easy.
Yeah.
Like, there's nowhere to attack as Protoss. And there have been games where I have seen Dewalt commit like this heavily to gateway units, and what happens is Terran just camps, and eventually Dewalt realizes, like, well, I can't win with gateway units anymore, I gotta go carriers, but it's too late. Right. So hopefully Dewalt doesn't get stuck on this comp for too long, because if he does, I think Mihu has a chance of winning here despite him being down 2 bases.
Well, his game plan may be to like kind of put some pressure on with storm drops and what have you, and meanwhile like kind of like have a strong standing army to buy some time, and then do the transition into carriers once he's got all these bases set up and he can support making like 3-4 carriers at a time. But yeah, I'm not too sure if it's going to work if he does decide to go for the sort of gateway man, just try and smash face and ram it down his throat. I think you're right. If he tries to go that approach and then transition, it's going to be way too late.
Yeah, and with it being Lobotomy, like I said, it's really hard to attack into Terran on this map. Like, ridiculously hard. So I wonder what the actual game plan here is, because if he maxes out on this comp, I actually don't think Mihu can lose. But here we go. Dewalt. Okay, I guess he's not going to step in here.
Yeah, he's kind of just like teasing us a little bit. He's got a few more shuttles on the way for kind of like a poor man's recall onto this huge Terran army, potentially.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed about Mihu's TVP, whether it was last week or the week before, I can't remember exactly, but what I saw was after like the first 4 Goliaths he builds in the early game, he doesn't really build that many additional Goliaths. So there's opportunity for not just, 1 or 2 of these shuttles to unload, but potentially every single one of them.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
there's Stargate.
That's one of the things I was concerned about earlier in the game, that we wouldn't have enough anti-shuttle play against what Dewalt's going to want to go for here. And he said a lot of units going to be coming into this base on the left. Mihu's desperately trying to get some deltas over here, but he could lose a lot of SCVs in this train. Oh, about half the SCVs went down there. I would say this is not like end of the world damage, but it's pretty significant damage to a Terran at this phase of the game. He's not got a lot of money coming in right now. Main is mined out, Natural's almost mined out. Losing this much mining time lost and those SCVs at your 3rd base is really painful right now.
I don't know if that was really worth, but now you see like Dewalt's going to try and clear out some mines or something. Is he going to attack? Dude, this ain't going to work. There's no way this can work. This is why you can't attack on Lobotomy. I mean, look at this. Like, all the
right now.
All the Gloons get clumped up and just taken out by all these tanks.
Not like this. He was already behind in supply, actually, despite doing good economic damage to Mihu. He was actually behind in supply even after that damage, because he lost so many units in that attack, and then he decided to throw more of his army away. So now that's going to trigger a big push out of Mihu, I think.
That's exactly what he should do. Not only does he have supply lead, but his 2-2 should be coming on pretty soon. While he attacks, he can expand at the same time. He knows he whittled down a lot of the goons and the Zealot County, and that EMP hits every single Templar right there. Goodbye, the one Templar that had 1 Storm available.
This is just not going Dewalt's way at all. Like, I after doing such significant, like, damage to him in the early game and kind of controlling the game state, he really needs to like rethink his approach to how to deal with Mihu. I'm a little bit disappointed in game number 1 here from Dewalt. I feel like he really needs to switch up his way of thinking and how to tackle someone like Mihu.
Dewalt is trying to like catch the units out of position, but this is lobotomy, man. Like, you don't have to move to get 4 bases. It's also, once you get to right here, you're on high ground overlooking low ground. So Dewalt, I see he has 6 bases. He needs to transfer over there pretty soon. It doesn't actually look like he has a massive probe count, because if we were to scroll to bottom left, for example, he's not even fully mining that base. I guess all the other ones look pretty saturated, so I could be wrong here, but 6-base PROTOSS is going to be really strong. But I mean, Terran's approaching max, so is Dewalt, and he has Arbiters coming, so maybe I'm wrong here, but we've got a big attack over on the left side from Mihu.
Yeah, 2-1 upgrades are finished on this Terran army, so they're going to trade just a little bit better now as well. One thing going for Dewalt is this high to low ground transition, but the tanks can shell this base from the low ground, so he's going to have to commit to bombing that with all of his shuttles right here, right now.
Okay, the bomb. Is there any storm? Is there anything to blanket this army? There's a reaver that unloaded, but it got immediately killed. I still haven't seen a single storm. Where's the Templars? Everything's just melting from PROTOSS.
Templar. Yeah, I think a bit of frustration from Dewalt. They just maybe miscalculated, didn't realize he was like lacking critical units to actually make that attack work, and didn't have enough storm to even play with there. I feel like he would have actually cleaned up that army somewhat efficiently if he had just like 3 or 4 Templars.
Well, Dewalt's still okay because he has so many bases to fall back on. Actually, a cannon gets a tank kill, which is big. Dewalt is up in supply, but you got to consider that about 15 of it is in the shuttles. There's still not much storm available. Mihu is scrambling to get units across the map ASAP. Behind this, he's mined out in his main. In fact, he floated his main to the 4th base to start mining there.
Yeah. Well, it's going to kick up his production into 2 base again, so he can keep churning out crazy amounts of units to try and get the kill move here right now. But I don't know. I feel like there's enough PROTOSS here that he can, like, you know, mount a bust out here. It's a quite entrenched Terran position on this western front, but I don't think it's unbreakable. I think that Dewalt can maneuver around this.
Yeah, if this wasn't lobotomy, I would definitely think that Terran can, or PROTOSS can bust out of it. But with it being lobotomy, maybe there is a chance where he can't. But Dewalt is swooping. He's actually just saying, okay, he's coming back for these tanks now, and this is going to be a massive bust onto this. He's up 30 supply. Again, there's so many tanks here, though. Okay, Zealot Bomb's on top of the tanks. That's exactly what he needed. D-Matrix is trying to save the day. What happened to the army at the bottom for Dewalt? It doesn't even get here to help.
Yeah, I don't think there was even that much coming from the bottom. He tried to put all his eggs in one basket from this flank at the top. It has actually worked out for him, though. He actually has fought Mihu back here, and if he can just stabilize on this current production, he's got 4 bases currently mining, and Mihu's only on 2. So if he can just, like, you know, start churning out units again, I don't think Mihu can actually keep up with him for too much longer.
Yeah, it looks like Dewalt, it just has too much econ because he didn't fully mine out his bases. Like, for example, his natural was up before Mihu's, yet there's still stuff to mine there. Bottom left isn't mined out either. Like, Dewalt's actually still on 3 bases, sort of, versus 2 of Mihu right now. If you're Mihu here, like, it's really easy to get the 3rd and 4th base, but how do you get top right, or how do you get mid right without having to, you know, leave your left side base open? And also, Dewalt's up 30 supply at this point, and he killed off the tanks once again. So I think Dewalt's in a prime position going forward into the late game.
Well, he can even afford to fight the Terran army head-on in the coming stages if he needs to, and now he's got like more and more assaults that are going to be going on in these expansions, and just like siphoning off more economy from Mihu, who's already struggling for money right now. As long as he trades like a 40 or so % efficiency, he's going to be just laughing.
Well, that attack, I'm not sure if it was worth. He ends up losing a ton of zealots there, also lost his reaver, and lost like 6 shuttles. I mean, shuttles are 200 minerals each, so that was a massive loss. But despite that, he's still up 35 supply, needs to retake his, I guess, his technically 5th base when he took it. Really good. Saves all of them pretty much.
Yeah, he only lost a few there actually. That was close to being a lot of dead SCVs. He wants to try and go for it again, but not quite in range to get that storm off that he really wants.
Well, we got to see how many SCVs were pulled off, and there was actually only like, what, 12 pulled off? So if you factor in, what, 12 plus, let's be generous here and say 20 on the left side. I mean, Mihu's worker count is extremely low.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like bare minimum work account for what minerals he has available to mine from right now. This is like you're making cuts and you're trying to win the game off just pure unit production. And he is kind of like banking on that. He doesn't even have any intentions of expanding right this moment. I don't think he can. I think he needs to first get a push going and then expand behind it.
Waiting for that arbor. I thought I saw one earlier, but maybe I'm... Okay, there it is. And he's setting up for a recall. And he must have spotted it because he took all of his units from the right side. Now they're over on the left. EMP.
EMP. He's not looking.
Oh, he's moving.
He's moving. Oh, this could be huge.
There's no mines. He cleared them out with the initial shuttle drop.
Oh, wow. This is going to be so much damage, Nyoken. This is insane. There's even a couple of High Templars here as well.
Well, it's going to be like he's going to land everything, but how much damage will he get done? Because the SCVs were evacuated. None of these units are going to get on top of the tanks.
I don't think it matters, though. He's just mining so much that as long as he's trading at any kind of reasonable efficiency, he's doing critical damage to me. He's just dwindling in supply. The Dewalt's at 180. Oh, that's the money right there. But he did transfer a decent amount of them away, but I don't know, man. Like, this is just looking too brutal for Mihu. I think this is unrecoverable now. He has got, I think, a CC floating into the top right. Yeah, but that's already been covered.
Yeah, this is what Dewalt has leveled up his play to be, is he just out multitasks you. Like, he's on the left side, he's on the right side, he baits the transfer into Storms on the right, and his econ's ridiculous. It doesn't necessarily matter if he hasn't had the most effective trades, because you're not going to get 5 or 6 bases. You're just going to be stuck on 3 or 4, and this may just end the game because these are isolated tanks, even though this army is not that big. Okay, he's going to back off.
Yeah, I think the tank spread was deep enough there that he didn't want to commit and lose all those Dragoons. Maybe wisely so, because there is, I guess, a tiny chance that he gets a strong enough push going where he starts to roll over 2 of these bases and reset the economy of Dewalt here. Wants to be careful not to give any kind of strong win percentage to Mihu.
Yeah, Mihu, I think actually Mihu's just gonna run out of money. Like, every time I look at his money, it's so freaking low. I don't even know if Mihu can stop this attack. Okay, that was a huge mine connection. Does a lot of damage to the reaver, but there's still so much left over. The reaver is somehow not dead yet. He's gonna clean it up, and now it's almost doubling the supply.
Yeah, this is really rough. I'm trying to look for a way of Mihu to come back in this game, and it's just looking more bleak as time progresses. I don't see how he's going to get this CC mining in the top right. Like, he has to sacrifice one of these bases. He can't just defend them both at the same time.
Yeah, he's not getting it. I think now Mihu realized, like, okay, this guy has mid-right also, so I need to go do something about it. But if your supply is only 80, I mean, you ain't gonna do nothing to PROTOSS army. So I feel like GG is imminent here.
It's not like TVZ where you can just like survive on low supply, throwing out dark swarms and like having a couple of lurkers just holding off a huge army or what have you. Like, it's a completely different ball game in this matchup.
This mining is quite hilarious. I mean, there's been Ghost to Dark moments, there's been snow moments with the Reavers. Now this is looking like a Best game. If you guys haven't watched or haven't paid attention to what Best does with his mining, often he doesn't even mine his bases efficiently, kind of like what's happening at bottom right. But I don't think it matters. This is just too much Protoss, too much econ. There's another Arbiter over here. Let's see it. Recall right on top of the army.
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see it. Come on, let's see it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, new meta, boys. The guys in the chat were right. The guys in the YouTube comments were right. All those years ago where they said they should just recall onto their army, they were right.
We're right, and there it is. GG comes out, and Dewalt, he's going to take game one. Really well done from him. I thought that, you know, the initial stages where the Zealot did no damage, like, oh my god, this is why you don't proxy versus Mihu. But he transitioned well, and even though the 6-fact timing looked strong, it was just too much money that Dewalt could fall back on.
I'm honestly super stoked for this series because, like, for a moment there, I thought Dewalt was like starting to throw the game a little bit, and I was like, oh no, because I thought he just wouldn't have enough infantry left over to hold the push from Mihu, and I was just like, oh, he's just going to get steamrolled. But then he actually pulls it back, and because he's been so aggressive with his expansions already, as long as he just barely like holds on, he's going to be fine. I actually think like his approach to the game was maybe more correct than I gave him credit for, despite some of his maneuvers.
Yeah, but despite the beginning, where Mihu, you know, had a late command center, floating a lot of gas, floating a lot of minerals, he had a good comeback there. Like, multiple moments in the game, he was actually ahead in supply. with it being a 2-player map and how strong the lobotomy was, I really thought he was just going to camp. That never happened.
Right. Yeah, I was a little bit confused by the approach there from Mihu as well. I don't know. I thought both players kind of like were trying to maybe subvert expectations a little bit and kind of go for like interesting ideas and approaches to kind of throw each other off. But I don't think I think being too fancy can also be a bit of an issue and something to avoid.
Yes. Dewalt going to be up 1-0 in the series, but now we're going to be going into Mihu's map pick. And he's been picking standard for the rest of the series. We've got Vermeer coming up. I think this is a good Terran map in the sense that it has all the bases with gas. It does have high grounds on this, like bottom middle, mid left, and stuff like that, so Terran can engage really well. But this is also a map that has so many bases that Dewalt can take. There can be a real scenario where Dewalt's on like 10 base and Mihu's on 5, which is amazing, but at that point it's just a money game, like, right? Dewalt's just gonna have a massive bank, so, and also Vermeer's really hard to split, so I don't know how this is actually gonna play out.
Yeah, I mean, Dewalt has the win condition of just setting up more rally points and just taking the quadrants of the map and just, isolating Mihu to one corner and what have you. And like you say, it's so hard to split that it's so easy for pros to get into those positions.
Also, just as an aside, I had brought up that there was a game between Dewalt and Royal where Dewalt brought it for 40 minutes versus Royal. You know what map that was? It was Vermeer, man. So the fact that he's going the distance versus the ASL champion Royal, I mean, I don't know if I would pick Vermeer. I would have preferred to play Retro because at least I don't have to worry about it being 10 base. It's probably going to be like 4 versus 7 at the worst, but Mihu knows what he's doing, and he's decided Vermeer's the pick, so let's get into game 2 between Mihu and Dewalt. Okay, in the top right in the blue, we do have Mihu. And in the bottom right in the red, we do have Dewalt. Well, I'm just going to call it right here. I think this is a 12 Nexus game. I think it's a big enough map. I think Mihu doesn't, proxy racks enough. And I don't think Mihu goes 11 gas. I think he's like an eco 12 gas type of guy. And you can get away with 12 Nexus versus that. So if I'm Dewalt here, I think that's the play.
Yeah, I think that's an astute observation. You may be fairly accurate in that. I would certainly want to go for a 12 Nexus here.
I think, of course, if Dewalt knows the spawns, 12 Nexus would not be the most ideal here, but
no.
Just from his own point of view, you've got a big map, 4 players. A lot of the games that you see at pro level when they play on Vermeer, a lot of them are 12 Nexus. So that's what I'm predicting, and, well, my predictions are not correct this time because there goes that probe.
Yeah, we're both wrong. I actually thought he would go for the 12 Nexus as well.
Well, it is going to be 10 gate with a scout, and what will Mihu do? Mihu actually hasn't built a Rax yet.
Yeah, we can make that into a bracelet. What would Mihu do on your bracelet? And that can help you, inspire you as Terran players.
Yeah. I lost my whole army. What would Mihu do? Well, he would just put down more factories and just sit there and get his delayed upgrades and come back.
Yeah, I think that's a good marketing idea. I think he should sell that to his fans.
Well, I think this was a 12 gas. I actually didn't look at the game timer when it went down, but it looks like a 12 gas to me. We did have a cross scout, and again, I have mentioned I have theories about this, where if it's cross spawn, you're going to cancel the Zealot, and with it being cross spawn, you're going to see that the Zealot does complete this time because he knows that Terran is a close position, and we've got a delayed gas as a follow-up, so it's going to be multiple Zealots this time.
How'd you... yeah, but it's going to be such a longer rush distance that I really can't see this doing a whole lot to Mihu. He's just so stellar in his early game pressure handling. His damage control is insane.
I don't see it doing anything either. I mean, think about last game. You proxied a gate as close to his base as it possibly could have been.
Yeah.
His barracks was out in no man's land, and you still didn't do any damage with it. So I already don't like it. I don't think this is going to do anything.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this idea either, but I mean, maybe Dewalt can make it work, or at least like find some kind of game state that's not only playable but somehow gives him a tiny edge. But I'm not seeing it yet.
I think also this type of play is good versus players that, you know, they have a set build. Like, I'm going to build 3 or 4 Marines. That's
Right.
it. Never anymore. But Mihu, there are games he loses all of his Marines, then he builds 5 more, he loses those, and then he builds 5 more. Like, he doesn't care if he loses his Marines. So I think, like, out of all players to pressure versus, like, this guy is just not the one to do it against, because he just doesn't care. And on top of it, he doesn't lose his Marines anyways. Now, the SCV gets in here, and he sees nothing unusual going on. There's 2 Zealots like we were expecting, but I think Mihu's going to have like 5 Marines plus a Vulture. Yep, there's the 5 Marines right now and the Vulture. And these Zealots need to hide, because if they get found, the Vulture's going to kill them.
Yeah, I mean, Mihu's like super safe right now. He sees the 3rd pylon, he sees Rangers on the way. Like, he knows like just how safe as houses he is right now. Like, as long, I guess the only thing that could go wrong for him is if the Vulture goes out on the map and he doesn't see any of the Zealots, and then they come in and surprise him. But I don't think that's going to occur.
Well, Nexus is going to come down in a second, and Dewalt's going to try and make this 2 Zealot Goon attack work. And this is just not going to do anything. The bunker is going to be up at the perfect time. Command center is going to basically be in line with the Nexus. So nothing really happening. Just forcing out additional resources from both sides. We still haven't had a commitment to tech from Dewalt, so I guess there is possibility it could be Citadel, but I think that's unlikely.
Yeah. He getting quite a lot of damage on this Dragoon already as well as Mihu, so already wants to put the pressure on and start to challenge this infantry force of Dewalt. So keep it soft and maybe make it even less likely to be able to pull off for like a, like a bit of a run by to get on top of this tank.
Yeah, we'll see if he tries to run by, but I don't think that would be a wise decision.
No.
Tank is doing good damage to these goons. There is an SCV set up at top middle. If it was bottom middle, I may be thinking that this could be a proxy starport, but I don't really think this is going to be for anything. I don't think he's going to hide a command center there, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe this is just the spot, and I guess he could though. He could take a fairly quick command center and just like, I really doubt it. This will probably even just go out to scout maybe soon. Who knows?
I'm expecting it to be sent out in the moment. Now in Dewalt's main, I did notice he's got his 2nd gate. I'm gonna guess it was Robo, but I mean that Robo is really, really late. So Reaver play I don't really think is on the menu. I gotta imagine that this is gonna be for Observer. Now, interesting move with, I'm assuming, this probe at bottom middle. I guess he's looking for proxies. Oh, yeah. It's actually Starport.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to see a little bit of Vulture drop action here, and there's a very strong chance that Dewalt doesn't take that opportunity, that possibility seriously, and we don't have maybe only like 2 Dragoons back at home when that comes in, rather than maybe 3. You know what I mean?
I mentioned this last week. I don't really ever see Mihu play drops. Like, I think I even said, like, I've never seen him play drops. So it's back-to-back weeks where he plays drops, and versus a guy who's just sitting outside of your base, like, not necessarily respecting the drop. I think this was a really good idea, but now Dewalt's moving back into position, and now you would imagine this drop shouldn't do very much, but maybe he can skirt the pylon on the right side. Maybe he can avoid the army and get a drop into the main, because there's absolutely no defense in the main right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely none at all. But he has kept his army right back, has Dewalt, so he might start to reposition his Dragoons, anticipating the possibility of this timing. Although it's not like a crisp Vulture drop timing, so yeah, I don't know. He might be a little bit caught off guard by this, but he has got some Dragoons in position in the natural.
He does have them at the natural, like you said, and this looks like it's going to be Arbiter this game, because there's still no Nexus. Yet there's Stargate, there's the Templar Archive, and the drop is going to see this. Yeah. So he will know the tech, but actually Arbiter is pretty good into this. So Mihu needs to get some damage done. Like, it can't be just I show drop and back off. He's got to get in here and do something.
Yeah, I mean, he's really delayed the timing of this drop. Usually you'd see it much earlier than this, but he's gone the real long way around. I think there's only 2 Dragoons here in the main base. Could be wrong. There they are.
Oh, yep, and he backs off. And I'm not even sure if he saw the Stargate. He should have saw the Templar Archive. which maybe that gives it away because the Templar Archive is kind of fast. But he critically also saw no third Nexus.
Yeah, actually, seeing no third Nexus, I think that alone, seeing that in the Templar Archive should be enough to tip him off that it's going to be some kind of 2-base arbiter build, right?
You would think so. We'll see how he responds. He's gone immediately into a comm set. I'm hoping that that's a command center at the bottom side of his base. He has SCVs set up like it's gonna be factories. I gotta tell you, 5-fact into Arbiter play, it's hard to make timings work because the Arbiter generally gets out right when the push comes. However, now drops have gotten into the natural and the main, and maybe this can be enough damage where he can make a push work, but it looks like it gets cleaned up pretty easily.
Yeah, I think this is just giving him like full scouting information, really, is always accomplishing with this drop here. It just confirms the exact like tech pattern and production capability of Dewalt right now. So that'll allow him to min-max his own timings, and he's going straight into 5 factory after scouting all that.
Yeah, so Arbiter takes like a minute 40 to build. Factory takes about 50 seconds to build. Building a tank takes 30 seconds. Vulture's 20 seconds. So, I mean, there's just such a tiny window to go like an attack right now before the Arbiter gets out. So okay, he's unsieging. I'm actually very surprised that he's unsieging. I thought he would move out and maybe take his third base, but I think this is a push.
I think so, yeah. It's like a 5-tank push. He's just going to go for it. He's got 6 tanks now, actually. So there's a little bit of meat to this army, to be fair.
Well, keep in mind, remember, I just mentioned that he just started his academy. So if he makes a push and the Arbiter gets out, he is not going to have many comm sets to deal with. Like, his army right now, yes, it can beat Dewalt, but I'm not worried about that.
He just used to scan to kill an observer. I'm not sure that was wise.
This is going to be okay. He's kind of doing what I was expecting. He's going to expand now. I guess what he's doing is he's saying, like, no, you cannot power. You need to build stuff because I'm coming to kill you. But he's actually expanding behind it.
Yeah, I mean, how successful do you think this will be for Mihu? Because right now he's not looking too bad, but I don't know if this is going to go well for him if he doesn't do anything about this arbiter timing.
I think it's okay as long as he backs up and just expands. Like, yes, the Arbiter's going to get out, and yeah, you're probably going to play a late game with mass
all
Arbiters.
These tanks live, right? He can't lose anything.
Yeah, of course. He's got to save these tanks. If they die, I mean, Dewalt's going to just go Nexus, and explode. But I think this was a smart move back up because, like I said, this guy doesn't have a lot of comsat energy. The Arbiter's going to be out. And you made PROTOSS actually cut a lot of probes. Like, his third base wasn't building any probes. He loses the shuttle and DT.
Yeah, that's a little bit painful. And Mihu's currently even on supply with Dewalt, so he's kind of sitting pretty with his third base timing, despite the fast tech of the arbiters being out and having a very fast stasis timing available.
So this game, I noticed that it doesn't seem like Mihu really delayed his upgrades. As I say that, of course, the armory's not spinning, but this could be like a slick 2-1 timing before the arbiters, get like into insane numbers, like 3 or 4. Another drop. Hopefully this has a tank. If it has a tank, it can do a lot of damage. There we go.
Yeah, this is a pretty sizable damage. We have another little vulture raiding party coming out with the hopes of catching some pros being transferred to 6, but won't be getting any damage done there. But this little tank and 2 vulture has done significant damage, lost mining time and some probe kills, so this is pretty good damage for Mihu.
Yeah, that was good. And behind this, Dewalt is taking a Nexus, as expected, so he's going to be going into 4 base. But Mihu is up in supply. I don't know how he's always up in supply, but he always is. What is this?
This is still getting away with murder right now. He shuffled it back there. The cannon just barely didn't finish it off. Yeah, it's this absolute nightmare situation to be in.
And he just now realizes it gets almost 10 kills by itself. There is a Nexus at top left. I mean, I love it. I don't think it's going to get scouted for a long time. So as the game goes on, if he can, mine that out or close to mine it out, that's a base that Mihu will never get back.
Yeah, I mean, he could also set up a very powerful rally point up there and just have like 4 gateways or so, and then defend that from the high ground with storms and make it very cost inefficient to take back. So yeah, this could be a nice little play here from Dewalt in the long run.
And also from Terran's point of view, if you scan bottom left and see that this guy doesn't have it and you just think it's 4 base versus 4 base, you yourself are not going to expand anymore because you know if you just survive, you win. But hello, there's a hidden base at top left, and all of a sudden that creates a dynamic that you're not expecting. So interesting move from Dewalt. Right now, he's just solidifying all of his bases, getting the pylon walls coming up, but he's gonna wall himself in, which means that the vultures can get in here and do damage.
Oh no, he's trying to evacuate the probes, but they're just going to be going to their doom right now. He's going to lose almost all those probes. Maybe like 2 or so will get out with their lives, but this is pretty devastating damage to the PROTOSS at this stage in the game.
Yeah, the drops that did... Oh, it's a recall in the main? Recall in the main? Oh, no, it's definitely not... Oh!
What are we watching right now? What kind of menagerie are these players imagining to give us these kinds of games?
I was wondering what Dewalt was doing because I kept looking at his rally point on the minimap. I'm like, dude, he's not even trying to save these probes. And that's why, because he was setting up for a recall. Not only did the recall not work, he lost the arbor, and he recalled the second arbor, which also got killed. So Mihu has a massive moment of opportunity now to make a push work. There's no stasis, there's no Templars, it's just gates versus a Terran that's about to be maxed on +2 weapons.
Yeah, and so many more probes are falling as well. This is devastating. Even another dropship coming in here, maybe to land a siege tank in the main base, who knows. But this is absolutely insane damage. And we finally saw turrets shut down a recall. You almost never hear a Terran player say that.
I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, apparently it is.
Okay, well, this is... As long as these tanks don't get... Oh my god, there's no way that... I don't think there's any way PROTOSS can stop this army.
Oh
also,
my god.
Mihu's pretty diligent with getting EMP. If he lands an EMP, I think he legitimately just A-moves this. Doesn't even need the siege.
He need the siege. Yeah, I don't think he needs the siege. That's that point. It's just look at that army. It's just untenable. He's got quite a lot of zealots, but there's enough vultures to screen that and soak that up. And there's not enough like splash here to really cut through this army. Just a couple of high templates, and like you say, just one EMP will completely just dominate this fight.
There's the arbor. Needs like 50 more seconds for energy. I think all Dewalt can do is counter. And unfortunately for him, unlike the other game where he could sack bases, he can't really do that this time. If he loses his nat and third base, he's going to be on basically one base mining. So he's going to try and hook around. These are isolated tanks. I mean, this is the dream scenario. Nothing to support the tanks. Are you serious?
Yeah, this is kind of wild. Oh, yeah, I still don't think he makes it, but it's kind of a wild opportunity here for a Dewalt. He does actually clear off quite a sizable portion of the tank force, but yeah, like you say, like it doesn't really matter. Like he's getting a wedge between the rallied units coming in to reinforce, but it doesn't really matter. I think eventually Mihu's going to win out on the trade. But the only thing going for Dewalt right now is that he's got like small, like winnable skirmishes. He could like get some trades right now, but I don't think that's going to matter in the long run. I think Mihu's still just going to squash him.
Despite killing those like 10 tanks, technically not for free, but you get the idea. It's about as free as the tanks could possibly be. There's still 7 tanks at the natural. That base is dead. He can loop around now to the third base. I'm not sure if Terran used his energy on the vessel just yet, but D-Matrix would be great to make sure that the bottom base gets taken down.
Yeah, he has 2 D-Matrix or 2 EMPs available to him with these science vessels.
I don't know what you do as Terran here, as PROTOSS. I mean, you've got top right, top left, but this game is, this game's done.
GG.
And that means Mihu's going to bring it back 1-1. I think the follow-up from Dewalt was good. The Arbiter is really good into 5-pack. Like, Terran can't do anything, but when you lose both of your Arbiters, dude, like that's game-changing.
That was a crazy blunder, honestly. Like, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a blunder, but I was actually surprised that he still tried to get the recall off, because I don't think there was any way that recall was going off, but he then sacrificed another Arbiter for that. And also a funny little Zealot, like, coming to make a little cameo on the little island bit.
I think he just sit there, like, if your whole strategy revolves around the recall, right? I can understand that. Like, you're like, oh snap, I gotta make this work, but in the end of it's completely backfiring. Just not only killing the first arbor, but killing the second arbor. I mean, if I'm Terran there and I see that, I'm laughing, I'm clapping. I'm like, dude, you're about to be dead. And if I lose this Terran in that position, I don't even know what to say.
It's
Like,
hard
I
not to be
must.
trigger happy as the Terran in those situations, right?
Yeah, because like that was the whole thread of like, and the fact that he went for recall probably means that he didn't even upgrade stasis also. So
Yeah.
that was a really good timing for Mihu. He hit right when Dewalt was vulnerable. Of course, the drops did amazing damage, and the vulture catch or the probe catch with the vulture at the bottom middle was really good. And that means that Mihu brings it back to 1-1. We're going back into Dewalt's pick, and if I remember correctly, third map is going to be Apocalypse.
Yep. You're correct.
So the fact that we've seen 2 series now where Mihu has gone for drops, I think the Walt needs to be a little more cautious with his I'm just going to rally units across the map type of play right now, because there's a faster drop. You know, the Walt retreated like 7 minutes into the game. A normal drop comes at like 6 minutes, 6:30.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if it was a one base, well, you know, not necessarily one base, but you know what I mean. If he can build the starport faster, I mean, there's a real chance where there's 4 vultures in the base and there's absolutely nothing there. So I think the Walt this time needs to at least account for that. But he's
Yeah.
playing some wild builds, so I wonder what he's come up with for this map.
I've noticed a lot of Chinese players doing that actually, like kind of obfuscating their builds by just like, you know, slightly delaying the timers of them, whether that's like a DT drop or a reaver timing of 1 gate or whatever it is. They seem to kind of like obfuscate their timings a little bit.
Yeah, it can throw you off as Terran because you think like, oh, well, if a reaver was going to come now, it should have been here, but it didn't come, so that means I'm going to skip out on turrets, but then all of a sudden a reaver shows up 2-3 minutes late, and you're like, wait, what? Where did that come from? Well, our players are ready, so let's get into game 3. It's going to be Apocalypse. Okay, in the top middle we do have our PROTOSS. It is Dewalt. And in the bottom right we do have our Terran. It's Mihu.
Now this is a flat map, and I know we're not going to see anything like a 2 factory, but we could see some other shenanigans on this map with the fact that we have no high ground advantage in the main base here.
Definitely can. I've had players send out a probe real fast, try and get a glimpse of the minerals, and then proxy outside of my natural. But we're not seeing that this game, but I have had that happen a couple times. Most recently, it happened when I was top middle, and it was quite funny because I went to scout, and there they were, and then I just walled myself in, and I was just so confused. I'm like, dude, does this ever work? Because I got the position that can wall, so...
Yeah. Lucky you, I guess.
Yeah, lucky me. I guess if
you
get bottom right, you could be in trouble, but not going to be the case this time. I'm hoping that Dewalt does not pressure Mihu, because that was one thing I noticed last season, is I think every game he did Zealot pressure, he lost, and he just doesn't take damage. So I hope it's either gasless, you know, gate nexus, or straight goon, or something. Please don't build multiple Zealots, because the guy just never takes any damage to it.
No, I think you're right. I think the play here is to kind of do something a little bit more passive and a little bit more chill, and just optimize for, you know, having a slightly stronger early to mid game phase.
Well, this gas is delayed for Dewalt. This is kind of weirdish to me. I don't necessarily think this has to be a Zealot. Maybe it's a delayed gas because he wants to get a faster nexus.
Yeah,
but it is a little slower than I was anticipating. And multitasking SC, thank you for the big tip, man. You're going to put us closer and closer to our BSL goal. You can see it at the bottom of the screen. If you are enjoying the BSL, consider making a donation or becoming a Patreon supporter.
We really appreciate all of your support, guys. Makes the dream happen.
Well, Mihu got off a quick scout here, and we'll find him first. And meanwhile, Dewalt, I actually don't think this was a Zealot. I think he ended up just delaying the cybernetics so that he can get his nexus up quicker. But he will find Mihu first at bottom right, but doesn't get in.
Yeah, actually, it's a big deal not to get any kind of early intel on the Terran player here. Nice little victory for Mihu. So it might seem very negligible to the viewers at home, but I assure you, in a matchup like this, like any tiny little nitpick of information is huge.
Definitely is. However, despite Dewalt not getting into the main, I think versus someone like Mihu, it matters the least because you know what it is. It's always 3 or 4 Marines. It's always a Vulture. The only time it's like a deviation is if he builds an additional depot before building his command center. Generally, Mihu just opens the same every game. And it's not just in Terran versus Protoss. It's also Terran versus Zerg. I mean, that's just generally what he does. Now, Goon is out. There's no bunker, but 3 Marines will beat a Goon 1v3, so he's going to be fine.
You need a range and impeccable micro and the Terran player not to be too proficient to be able to win that fight. So as long as Mihu doesn't make any mistakes, he'll win that trade pretty much all day, every day.
And the SCV came back and got into the main, saw that there was a range cut because Dewalt went immediate robo. It's something like 330 robo, 335 robo. That means he could skip Observer and defeat all timings by going just straight Reaver here. And that means that Mihu's also got to respect that a Reaver could be in his base. So he needs to get that eBay up quickly or go Starport as a follow-up and get a Wraith.
Well, what do you think? Do you think Wraith or 5-fact?
I think eBay into 5-fact is the play. I hate building a Wraith. I think Wraiths are just so expensive and not really cost-effective in the early stages.
I kind of agree. I think that they have a lower EV, but only because of execution issues. I think if you're light or someone, then obviously you can get way more value out of that unit, so the potential EV of that unit can be ascertained. But for you and me, like the average Joe is like not going to be getting that kind of EV out of the Wraith, I think.
Exactly. I would prefer that if you think it's going to be Reaver, you just lay some mines in your base and get turrets in good positions.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mihu is someone that always builds a lot of vultures, so you know he's going to have the mines. So that's why I think we do see him going for that eBay as a follow-up. Now, the shuttle is already out, but I don't think there's a Reaver in here. But what is he doing with it? He's moving across. I mean, this looks like he's trying to escort a probe somewhere.
Yeah, usually Protoss players will use the shuttle either for scouting or to kind of like fake something early game to like kind of get some value out of the shuttle unit early while they're waiting on that Reaver timing.
Well, there's no Zealots. That means this is going to be a Goon Reaver drop, which is interesting. Now, the shuttle, what it did see was he did see that this Terran went for speed, which means that this Terran obviously has a lot of vultures, not a lot of tanks. So there's going to be opportunity to get damage done in the main because there's just not going to be a lot of, you know, army that can actually contest your Reaver. Also, there's no mines yet, and the vulture's out in the center of the map.
Yeah, this is kind of a bit of a weird position to be in. Like, where's the mines?
These are interesting turret positions also. I thought for sure there would be a turret like on the left side, but he's got this over randomly at the top side of his base.
Oh, there's a turret under the racks here.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a really good one. That's the only one I like. I'm not too sure about the other ones.
I don't think there's any at the bottom, in fact. Now,
this is one right at the far bottom. It covers the dead zone, yeah. Oh,
and I was about to say this. I wanted to mention SCV at bottom middle. What is that? Okay, that's a starport. And we were talking about this before the game started, like a delayed starport. This is a weird follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone can make it work, it's probably Mihu, so let's not doubt the guy just yet. But I still think it's a little strange. I still think I would just prefer a straight-up 5-fact here, but I also can't fault it. I like to see a little bit of innovation.
Well, I'm trying to think, like, what could this be? Like, I thought maybe it would be hidden starport and he's actually rushing his +2 weapon, but in his natural he's just now gotten gas, so that's like really late. Do you know what else it could be?
Do you know what else it could be? It could be Cloak Wraith. It could be like just 3 Cloak
Wraith.
Yeah, 3 Cloak Wraiths. Later he'll make a dropship and then 3 Cloak Wraiths, maybe.
Am I on Reddit right now? 3 Cloak Wraiths.
Yeah, I'm trolling a little bit, yeah.
I mean, it could. I mean, surprisingly, Cloaked Wraiths do a lot of damage.
It can work.
I could go with that if he had taken his natural gas faster, but the fact that it was delayed so long, I mean, it has to be dropped. Like, if it is Wraith, I'm gonna lose my mind here.
It's not. It's gonna be dropped. I'm just trolling. Or am I?
Yeah, or are you? Well, I will say, Dewalt, every single game has not necessarily taken a really quick third base. Those two should connect on that reaver. Oh, it got moved back.
No, it moved like one hex tile out. Like, these guys got the range pretty mapped out here.
All right, Vulture's moving out. I'm trying to think. Did Dewalt not get an observer in? I mean, it is Mihu.
No.
I mean, you know what he's going. He's always going at least 4 factories, but like he doesn't confirm. Lack of starport. He doesn't confirm the factory count. He hasn't even
one of the big
scouted
disadvantages of going for that shuttle reaver opening as well. Like, I mean, if you don't have that like critical mass of observers early game and the fast timings to just get into the Terran base right away and before they get that turret ring set up, and if you're just busy playing defense, worried about what's going on your side of the map, and you're not actually figuring out what's going on his base, then he might get caught with his pants down a little bit and actually start taking some heavy damage to this like vulture drop play.
This is just a very interesting drop, a 9-minute drop, and on top of it, it's going towards the third base. It's not even going towards the natural or the main, and it's actually the perfect position to drop because once again he's walled himself in with pylons. There's no goon, there's no shuttle to get that reaver in.
This is crazy metagaming, honestly. Like, this is really beautiful thinking from Mihu here. Like, he's really showing like why he's at the caliber that he's at. Like, he could cancel that pylon if he sees it just quick enough. He doesn't cancel it.
Oh my gosh.
No, he doesn't cancel. He'll lose at least like 4 or 5 probes here.
That was really good damage.
Alone. Yeah, lost mining time alone is so painful. Oh, he's gonna get the probe transfer of another 2 vultures coming in. This is just really high finesse play from Mihu. I'm really impressed.
And that like almost brought Mihu to even supply. It's 99 to 90. Dewalt's gonna try and take a 4th base. There's a vulture all ready to intercept that probe. And Mihu, once again, just doing his typical thing, scaling into high factory count. He may feel like he dealt enough damage here that he could try and make a timing happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he might. Look at the dancing of the probes. There's so much lost mining time. Dewalt is like penniless right now. He should be churning out minerals, and he's just not.
Mihu's got a ton of money, man. Like, he can go 7 fact if he wants. Okay, he put down a command center.
This is crazy. Like, he must have like cost at least a deficit of maybe 1,000 minerals, at least, maybe way more.
Oh yeah, at least. He's killed enough probes that they must be at least that much. Now the cannon still isn't done, man. These vultures gonna get in here and do damage once more.
Wow, this is nutty. Like, it's actually just finishing up, so he's gonna get like another 4 or so probes.
He's gonna be out of range. Oh no, he's not.
He can still get it. He won't. He can. I think he can avoid the cannon if he went to the very far left and like deny mining on 1 or 2 patches, but I don't think so.
Okay, Mihu's gonna attack. I'm actually surprised he's attacking because he's got a command center coming up behind this, but oh, he's just everywhere, man.
Dude.
The 3rd base, the 4th base, he's killing so many problems.
He's forcing so many interactions and stretching Dewalt to his absolute limit. Dewalt must be feeling like an elastic band that's about to snap at this point, man.
And this is not easy to do versus Dewalt, who's got some of the best multitask, especially in PvT. Now the question is did Mihu overextend here? Because, I mean, these are isolated tanks pretty much. There's 2 reavers here that are full health, no siege. Okay, there we go. He's gonna siege up.
This is to be honest with you, like, it's really scary on this map when Terran can get control of this, like the high ground plateaus. I don't really see how like PROTOSS can like fight up against. Once Terran secures that, like, they can just play passive on this map. But it doesn't look like Mihu has any intention in playing passive at all. Seems like he's like looking for any opportunity to just like pull Dewalt apart. And Dewalt's going for a big counter-attack here in the 3rd base location. But I don't know if there's going to be enough goons here to do anything. If he's going to get sandwiched.
I think Dewalt is worried, or I think Mihu's worried about committing because he might get sandwiched.
But he could have sandwiched Dewalt.
Yeah, that's the thing. He could have caught those goons, but now the army or the zealots are sinking. Oh my god! I heard a DT. There it is.
He got it. Okay. Well, it's a little bit of a weird situation because for a second there I was scared for Dewalt, but actually now Mihu has got this army kind of isolated. So if Dewalt can just kind of buy a little bit of time, cut off reinforcements, get some more utility and a bit more army supply down here, maybe he can clean up this force of Mihu.
Dewalt definitely needs to make sure that this army can't retreat. Like, this is as good of an opportunity as you're going to get. He forced all the tanks to be siege, and he's acting like he's going to attack the third base, I mean. But I really think he's got to kill this army. Don't try and counter and, you know, run into a ton of mines and then get hit from the backside also. I think that's just going to be not a winning move for him.
Yeah, I don't like this. He's also let the units come out to join this army a bit too easily as well. He kind of did the middle ground play of not really doing either thing correctly. So now now the vultures have gone out. He wants to pressure this third base location, so he feels confident. But like you say, he's going to soak up so many mine hits before the trades even occur. So I'm not sure this is the wisest of his choices here.
Yeah, the zealots are already dead. Now it's pure goon versus tanks plus mines, and this is exactly what I didn't want to happen. Now Mihu's retreating his army. He's going to sandwich the army. He's up 20 supply. This is Terran also. Their army is just better, especially with siege tanks. And this was a massive loss for Dewalt.
He's evacuating the SCVs, but I don't even think he needs to evacuate the SCVs. The trade has gone so well. He even got some mines and vultures taking out High Templars. These are critical units to be losing right now. This is almost game-ending damage for Mihu currently.
I don't even know where those vultures came from. There's reavers here. Okay, big shot. Gonna lose one though.
Oh, I mean, Dewalt's hanging on by a thread right now. He's in full-on crisis management mode.
Yeah, I don't think he can stop this army. Like, reavers are good, but that shuttle is extremely weak. One of the reavers is
okay.
Yeah, that's a good attempt there, but unless he can trigger another mine shot into the tanks, I don't think.
He was kind of hoping for that, but he didn't get it. Yeah, just one or two good mine drags into that army. Maybe something could be said for a little bit of a comeback here, but the reaver pressure at the third, denying some mining, it's a small victory here, but it's not going to be enough to turn the tide. And these units not dealing with the army and slowing it down in its push could also spell disaster here for Dewalt, who currently is dealing with Mihu setting up on this high ground plateau and putting himself into a very difficult position to dislodge.
Well, this reaver is doing a lot of... Damn, it's got 16 kills, so it's done a ton of damage here. If he can use the reaver to stall reinforcements, buy some time, maybe he can overwhelm the army, but it is high ground Terran overlooking your third and a fourth base. There's also no observer here, so all of these units are going to die.
Oh, no. This is why it's so good to lay down mines in the mid-game to late-game phase, because they just don't sweep the map at that point. And now look at this beautiful trade here for Mihu as well, just cleaning up so many goons for free, pretty much, not losing that many tanks at all. This is kind of wild, watching him clean up Dewalt so efficiently here.
Supplies, hand off the keyboard. GG is going to be coming in a second. It's like a 50 supply lead. The tank count really hasn't been whittled down at all. The non-stop rallied DT, a la Ugok style, it's just not panning out this time. Maybe it can pan out here. No, it doesn't get in on top of the mine.
Well, I'm sure maybe an A rank or B rank Terran on the ladder would be able to be dealt with in this kind of fashion, but Mihu right now in his tournament life, I don't think that kind of trick is going to be able to be the thing that tips the tide here for Dewalt. I think this is going to be a 2-1 lead for Mihu going forward here. I just don't see this being a tenable position to keep going.
There it is, the GG. So once again, Mihu gets a victory here on Apocalypse. Last week, he picked apart Bonnet with some dropship play and did the same thing here versus Dewalt. Now he takes a 2-1 lead in the series and also goes into his map pick now. If he wins there, that puts him at 3-1. I don't know if you're recovering from 3-1 versus Mihu. Is that possible?
Psychologically, technically, and execution technically, but this is conceptual things we're talking about here. Actually pulling that off, I think that's a different beast entirely.
I don't know if you can come back from 3-1 versus, almost back to back.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
BSL champion. And Mihu, he just looks like the Mihu of every single season of BSL. He just does what he always does, which is big macro, big factory timings. I guess the drops are a little unorthodox, but in general, I mean, he's just matching the macro of Dewalt. Every time I look at supply, it's within 10, which is just incredible. I don't know how they're always so close in supply. And critically for me, he's not losing tanks, right? That's the key thing. He doesn't lose any tanks, so he's able to make a push after Dewalt makes a misstep and just does immense damage with it.
And that's the thing that most Terran players don't have the luxury. Like, usually the PROTOSS player will make a misplay, but then you can't punish it because you lost too many tanks in the fight or something. You just can't push and kill him, even though you want to. And if you do, usually that's throwing the game.
Exactly, and even though these reavers, like they're stalling the push. Have you seen a reaver get into the SCV line and do damage? Like,
only at the third base, like a little bit, like not really in the main base when we need to early game, like before the critical infrastructure's online.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming in a game after, or as part of the game where everything's set up. And every time I look at Dewalt's base, like the gateway count seems really low. The third base seems, late-ish. I'm starting to think like, okay, maybe you open Reaver, but don't commit to Speed Shuttle, don't commit to, multiple Reavers so that you can start scaling your tech a little bit faster. Because right now, just like whenever I see Zerg players versus Mihu, like they commit heavily to the Mutalisk, but they don't kill any SCV, so Mihu just goes about his build as normal, and he just kills you in the mid and late game.
With superior macro.
Exactly. So we are ready with game 4. Mihu up 2-1. Let's get into it. It's going to be Citadel. Well, in the bottom left, looking as strong as ever, it is Mihu. And in the bottom right, trying to recover from 2-1, we've got Dewalt.
This is a really important game for him to win. I know obviously every game is an important game to win when you're in a tournament, but this one especially for momentum's sake, being 3-1 down against the likes of Mihu would just be almost a seemingly insurmountable odds for him to overcome both mentally and physically. So getting the win here and resetting the balance and getting some momentum and some wind in his sails again and evening things up 2-2 could actually like really breathe new life into Dewalt's chances here.
I wonder how Dewalt's going to open. He played really risky on the first game. Then after that, he's kind of played normal-ish. I really did like his Apocalypse opener. Faster Nexus, skip range, go Robo. I don't think any of Mihu's builds really punish that. So I'm hoping if he doesn't Nexus first, which he's not, that he plays that again. The fact that this gateway is so close to the Nexus, I can't imagine it being Zealot pressure.
You'd think not, right?
Well, I hope not. Because the
that's
travel
wild
distance
if it is. I mean, if you prepared for a game this much and you're doing a Zealot pressure build and you're worried more about like SimCity against Vulture drop, like what are we doing here?
I just can't see it really working if it ends up being a Zealot opener. There goes the gas for both sides. I think once again, another 12 gas from Mihu, and Mihu's going to go for the normal 13 scout, and Dewalt once again, at least for now, going to be delaying that scout. And this time around, Mihu not going to find Dewalt first as he goes top left.
Okay, well, there's a little bit of luck going Dewalt's way, small victories.
And as expected, immediate cybernetics. No Zealot just yet. I don't think there's going to be one.
Do you feel like Dewalt should have thrown in a 12 Nexus into this series already just to kind of give Mihu a wider range of play to worry about? Do you feel like Dewalt might pigeonhole himself too much if he continues to play like this? Or do you think like the consideration here is Mihu is so rigid in his own style that I might as well be rigid as well?
I think 12 Nexus on Vermeer or Apocalypse was the game to do it, because now at this point I think it's too risky to go for 12 Nexus unless Dewalt wins here. If he wins here and brings it back 2-2, then I think next game you got a 12 Nexus.
Okay, yeah, I'm behind that.
But if he loses here and it's 3-1, I don't think you can 12 Nexus anymore. I think that it's kind of risky, and Mihu will probably be expecting it. But we're gonna have the same opener almost as the Apocalypse game.
I mean, this is a pretty fast Nexus, so it's by no means a 12 Nexus, but it's about as greedy as you can get with a Nexus while still taking your gas and making a goon,
And SCV is going to come in here and see that it was a fast Nexus, sees that it was delayed range, and it was delayed range technically, but there's no Robo yet. Yeah, there's no Robo yet.
Yeah, he basically just made one Dragoon, Nexus, then he made range, and then we can have a little bit of a delayed tech timing as a result of this early Nexus investment.
And as expected, there's the 3 Marines and Vultures. I would really like to see back-to-back drops. I think that the drops have just done so much damage versus not just Bonneth and DeWalt.
Yeah,
and this is another map that has a huge main that you might as well try it again. Like, say to this guy, like, well, you're gonna have to prove to me that you can stop drops, because so far you haven't done it.
Well, I think that DeWalt's style of like lots of shuttles, I think would be not too bad on this map, maybe, but I think really he should be focusing on maybe like storm drops on this map, because the cliffs are just so close to the bases at like the 6 and 9 and what have you, so it's just so easy to storm drop Terrans from those cliff edges at those expansions.
Storm can definitely be very good. We'll see if he actually goes for it this game. We've got, I'm trying to see, do we have support bay or observatory? Oh, I guess we don't have any yet. What's that probe going to build? I think it's going to be observer.
Also, Nyoken, we should also say recall is actually really super strong on this map as well, for the same reason, where you just can't shoot down, unless you EMP, you can't shoot down the Arbiter, because like it just comes from the high ground, then it's able to recall instantly.
That is true. Now this is an interesting attack. That must be a Vulture at the top side, because if you're making a 5-minute attack as Terran with 3 Marines and 1 tank, that's never working. That's just, it's impossible. And luckily we've got 4 goons out for DeWalt, and he's gonna try and jump on it, but he doesn't get it actually, and he takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, he did get... Oh, the tank goes down, though, so far that's definitely gone DeWalt's way now after that. Did get the first volley on that tank and softened up. I thought Mihu was going to be a little bit more cautious with the tank following that volley, but yeah, DeWalt luckily getting the compensation needed to make sure he could just dispel any kind of pressure Mihu could levy him that way. So I think this is going pretty DeWalt's way. I wouldn't say this is by any means like a huge advantage or anything, but so far so good.
Well, this should be the first game where DeWalt just immediately puts down a 3rd Nexus. I think you shut down the initial attack like that.
Yeah.
Just go build the 3rd Nexus. You've got the Observer to clear out a mine if it's there, and that's exactly what it's going to do.
But is the mineral only really the choice, though?
I can see the argument for that, because Mihu, I think, is going to sit for like 4 or 5 minutes. And even if you lose this base, at least you're going to have mined it for a while, and you can probably fall back on the mid-right base. Where if you do it the other way, the mineral only is not going to be mined nearly as much, right? You're going to get more value by mining that first. But I kind of agree, like, this is a little bit questionable, because if this is like a cut of SCVs, and he just puts down 6 factories and pushes, well, now that Nexus is so far forward, it's going to be really hard to defend.
And right next to the ridge line, I just think it's like a death sentence against someone like Mihu, but that's just me.
Yeah, it is also... I guess you also have high ground here as PROTOSS, but, I mean, Terran can sit behind the wall, which is kind of a nightmare. So, we'll see how this plays out as Armory is completed now. I think it's 2 fact turrets are coming in. And I think that's an academy also, and that could be Stargate at bottom left of DeWalt's base. Those are weirdly placed gateways.
Yeah,
if those are gateways.
Yeah, that can't be gateways. That has to be some kind of like Stargate tech or something. You're right.
Well, if it is Stargate, I will point out that the nat gas for DeWalt was kind of slow. So if it is carriers, I don't know how you're going to support that. Yeah, okay. As expected, it's going to be Arbor.
Okay. That makes sense. Arbiter's really strong on this map. I actually kind of really agree with that.
Well, there's the fallback, or the 4th base going to be going down for DeWalt in just a second. 3rd and 4th factory coming in for Mihu, and Mihu's got the mine set up in key positions. Doesn't have really a turret ring, but doesn't need them when he's got those mines set up so well.
Yeah, he's used the timing of this shuttle to allow him to come out and mine sweep as well, so... Now he's kind of like knows that there's no mines he's going to run his army into accidentally here. But he still hasn't got this base set up here. He's had this probe just chilling for a while now.
I'm wondering what he's waiting for. Maybe he's waiting to see how fast the factories get built. He doesn't want to go with, too much tech and too much power. Not have any units to deal with a 5 fact. But Vultures get in. Okay, that was worth, what did he get, 4 probes?
Yeah, 3, lost a little bit of lost mining time. It was kind of negligible.
It was kind of just whatever. 6 fact again, man, Mihu's kind of changed. I mean, the style idea is still the same because he's going to expand behind this. But, you know, in the past, it used to be 4 fact expand. Now it's 6 fact expand.
Yeah, unless he was trying to like just make it look like he wanted to take a 4th, and that's why the probe was chilling. So I don't think so, though. I think he was just like a bit indecisive about taking the 4th.
Yeah, I'm
he
not
still
sure
got to clean out his
exactly.
mind.
Yeah, he didn't ever send an observer over there, so he's gonna actually have to send a zealot to clear it out. Now, one of the best ways to deal with arbiter play is Terrans take a fast 3rd base and take a fast 4th base. So it is interesting to see Mihu play this, where I'm just gonna have a ton of factories and go for late expansions. We'll see how this works out for him. He's gonna get his mineral only pretty easily, I would say.
I'm just really sad about this because like I really feel like this is the game where I would have loved to see a much faster expansion timing out of Dewalt, and I feel like this is a much more standard 4-base timing, whereas I feel like he should have been way more greedier.
He definitely could have. He had that probe there for so long, and of course we see that, you know, in retrospect, Mihu never ended up making a timing attack. Dewalt is still up 20 supply. There's still no command center for Mihu just yet, and this time a probe intercepts the vultures. He knows that they are out on the map, and he's going to try and catch them.
You can get 2 maybe. I don't know, got about a snake away. Might even potentially catch this 1 probe that's trying to get up here.
Yeah, I think he might lose it. No, he doesn't.
Okay.
That's a nice pickoff. I mean, getting 3 or 4 vultures for free is pretty good.
Especially if they had any mines that were left unlaid. That's pretty good value, yeah.
Yep, and Mihu, he is going to finally put down his 3rd base. Like you said earlier, it's just the mineral only, though. I'm not sure how beneficial that's going to be to Mihu. Of course, Citadel is one of the maps that is very easy to get a 4th base, so I think... Go ahead.
Well, it's not just that it's a mineral only, but it's like the patches aren't even optimal, right? Like you're only getting like 40, 50 per patch on some of these rather than like the 60, 70 you could be getting.
That is true. And there's the drop. You knew it was coming because, like I said, those vultures at the top side of the map, you knew that they had to be up there for a reason. And there's the drop, but doesn't actually get unloaded at mid-right. Just kind of kills that probe building the Nexus. Dewalt's not going to care about that.
Yeah.
Will push those back with his Arbiter and Dragoons.
Yeah. As Terran here, is your game plan to expand vertically, or would you ever consider expanding to 6 and like pushing along the horizontal axis on this map?
Well, 6 is really kind of easy to get because you can just sit there behind the wall and you just leave a vessel over there for EMP. And not only does EMP cover that base, it also covers your natural. So I think if I'm Mihu here, I'm taking bottom middle as my 4th base and then going to mid left as my 5th.
That's how I'd want him to play as well.
I think that's definitely the move. And then, of course, if Dewalt does make a misstep, you're right there to immediately punish the mineral only. Now, as far as what should Dewalt do, even though recall's good on this map, I think if you can get to like 4 arbiters, you might as well just play stasis, because if you can get like 4 or 5 stasis off, that's amazing. But instead, he's going to recall the main, and there's not that many turrets. It's 1.
Yeah, a lot of damage could be done here. I mean, his army is like pretty much completely out of position. He's just like 1 single siege tank and like a mine. I mean, that mine's a pretty good one, so it does splash a lot of the zealots. And there's only 2 dragoons in this recall, actually. This is not what you want in a recall. You want like a pretty dragoon-heavy recall, so it's a bit of a weird situation.
Yeah, and also those goons intercept the vultures trying to come back. So look at the supply absolutely plummet for Mihu. He goes down to 120 now. PROTOSS is probably going to lose all of these units relatively easily because the Zealots took a big mine shot. But maybe I'm wrong here. There's nothing to support those tanks because the Vultures died.
Yeah, the Vultures died. So actually these Zealots are getting way more done than they would usually. They will still be cleaned up quite efficiently, but the Zealots should be shredded usually. Like usually you want way more Dragoons in a recall. So they did way much more damage than... Look how many depots are dead. Look how many depots have been destroyed. He did got like 10 more units he can make.
Yeah, this is... I don't want to say it's game-ending damage because Mihu is incredible, but versus a normal Terran player, this is easily game-ending damage. Protoss is up 2 bases, killed so many depots. I mean, Terran's supply block. You know how long it's going to take for Terran to actually get ahead of 104 supply? I mean, he's going to be at 100 supply for, like, I don't know, another minute here. Now, I guess critically none of the tanks died, which is great.
Yeah, but just like the APM and attention span alone of just like sending out all the SCVs to make all those individual supply depots really going to slow down the ebb and flow of Mihu right now. Well, meanwhile, Dewalt is just going to be powering up. He's got another quadrant of the map being secured right now. Stargates being thrown down. He can go into like Mass Arbiter or Carriers or pretty much whatever he wants. Another recall in the main base here. A few more Dragoons this time, but no splash units, I don't think.
Yeah, he's just trying to make the game scrappy while he gets his carriers up and running. You know, Arbor into carrier is a incredibly strong composition, and the way he's positioned the Stargates, I don't think there's any world where Mihu scouts it unless he sends a dropship up there to do some weird drop. Now, these Goons and Zealots admittedly didn't do that much damage, but it just still keeps Terran back, which is all he needs to do.
Yeah. It's just more nuisance for Mihu to clean up, and he's only just now going to be regathering himself. And there's also attack coming in at the front here. There's quite a lot of siege tanks here, but if Dewalt still pulls the trigger, you might actually be able to bust open his position. There's not a lot of supporting units. Vulture's finally coming in to start cleaning up the Zealot threat, but there's also Stasis available, Storms available. Oh, there's so many SCVs are going to die as well potentially.
And this is amazing play from Dewalt, just relentless with the multitask and taking bases behind it, attacking at the front while also doing a recall. I think if Mihu knew the position he was in, he needs to counterattack right now. Like, he lost a lot of tanks, yes, but Protoss just has so much stuff that the longer you wait, the higher the carrier count's going to get, and I don't think you're going to be able to contest it with just 3 bases. Like, he's struggling with his money.
Yeah, I mean, he's had like the majority of his forces dwindled down now, so he hasn't really got a lot to come out on the map and actually challenge this the Protoss player and his idea of just transitioning to carriers here. He's getting a couple of these probes in the transfer, but it's nowhere near the kind of damage that he needs to do to slow down Dewalt. And I don't think he's got enough factories to handle like producing enough Goliaths to fight this at this stage.
He definitely doesn't. And by the way, there was a scan to top right, but it scanned the Nexus and missed all of the Stargates. He still has no idea that it's carriers.
This is like worst case scenario for Miho, and this is like brilliant for Dewalt. Like, if he does win this game, this is going to be huge for his momentum going forward. We've got a real series back on our hands, so it won't be that kind of like stomp, like 4-2 maybe from Mihu that we maybe could have been seeing.
Getting the 3rd base up and running much quicker this game allowed him to scale into the mid game much better, get his 4th base up, and now I don't know if a recall here will end the game, but it definitely could. He could also just try and engage. I mean, his army, if you even subtract the carrier supply, it's still ahead of Terran supply here. He's caught some of the tanks out of siege. Where's the stasis? Okay, 4 tanks. That's really good.
There's a lot of ice cubes. This is a hard position to attack into, though. He's got to be careful. Like, he can just, like, get... Well, he's unsieging. And he has to re-siege right away. That gave a little window there for Dewalt to just come up onto this ridge line and get into a position where he can maybe skirmish and take down more of these forces, but decides to wisely back out and just buy even more time to build up his carrier fleet. Doesn't want to commit too much of his infantry force. Wants to maintain a threat out on the map at all times and really slow down Mihu's ability to come out onto the map and challenge him.
This is dire straits for Mihu. Dewalt's got enough bases now where he's going to be like perma-maxed. Like, I don't think he'll ever go under 180 supply. I think you're just going to see consistently maxed every single time unless, we make a huge attack like this. He's actually just going to beat Terran's army with like 6 carriers at top right. That's how far ahead he is.
Yeah, the carrier's just an insurance policy at this point, Nyoken. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
He doesn't even need them. This is a massacre. Does a good storm, does a lot of damage to the vultures. I guess, technically he did go under 180 supply, but gonna shoot up to max in just a moment as he has a 2.5k 1k bank.
This is kind of wild. I mean, we have the 3-1 upgrades here for Mihu, so he has like fairly okay upgrades, but honestly, like, no, like, against carriers as well, you really want some armor on those Goliaths. So even if he, let's say, hypothetically had the kind of amount of factories necessary to deal with this, I still don't think he's like in a position to be able to do that.
if he had bottom, middle, and mid left up and running, and supplies were like this, I could see a world where Mihu could potentially come back, even though, you know, carriers are insane. But the fact that he's like starved for money, his main's mined out, his natural's mined out. I mean, he's on one base mining and it's a mineral only. And also, he's only on 2 gas, which are going to be mined out pretty soon. So, like, even though he can build Goliaths for now, not going to be able to build them for much longer. So I think Dewalt, just get your 6 carriers. Again, there's still, I don't think they've been scanned. So just wait for the carriers to reach 8 and then just go in the game.
Well, yeah, once he loses those 2 gases and they become depleted, then he's only on like 450 gas a minute with the gas at 9. So it's like really a small, pitiful amount of gas trickling in to squeeze out Goliaths with. It'll be really impossible for him to overcome those odds, I think.
And if you lose your tanks, how are you going to replenish the tanks? Like, you're just not. So this should be Dewalt's game. Of course, Terran is very resilient on 4 bases with +3 weapon. But Arbiter Carrier, my opinion, this is the death comp. I don't think there's any comp better for Terran or for PROTOSS. And again, it's gone unscouted. It's still gone unscouted. There's 1 turret, 2 Goliaths. Look at this. It's all ground.
Yeah.
It's all vultures and tanks. And there's 6 carriers plus Arbiter.
And he's got +2 attack upgrades on these as well, so the carriers will do sufficient damage. And only 1 armor upgrade for Terran, I might add, so they're not going to be able to tank this at all. GG, instantly called. He knows this is a crazy, crazy hill to climb. Not going to even attempting that Everest climb.
Yep, and that kind of just showed you that Mihu had no idea, because as soon as he saw the carriers, immediately out of the game.
Yeah.
So Dewalt strikes back 2-2. I think it was a critical game for him. And it's going to be back on his map pick, but it's a 2-player map, and he's not able to get any advantages of the 2-player map because Mihu just shuts down the pressure. Also, Mihu on lobotomy didn't even get gas stolen. No. I know Dewalt did win on lobotomy, but I don't know, man. I still feel like this is a good map for Mihu.
I mean, I think you're right. I mean, although if he's not careful about scouting for carriers, we could just see him like obfuscate carriers here again, maybe. But it's so much harder to go carriers on this map against someone like Mihu. He's just gonna like stomp you with his normal push timing, maybe.
He definitely could. One thing I did notice last game was I think he built like an 8-minute academy. That takes a while, you know, comsat takes a while, and if he misses a scan, let's say Dewalt goes like 2 base carrier, like immediately 2 base carrier.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that working, but if he does like a macro, like 3 base,
yeah, I don't think that works.
Carrier,
I don't think that works.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, why don't you go get some snacks and go use the bathroom, and we're gonna be back in just a couple of minutes to get into the rest of the series here.
Butter is the name of a dance we do down Johannesburg way.
Welcome back, folks. We're about to get into Game 5. So far, the series is really delivering. We've got a 2-2 series, but we knew it was going to be close. It's like I stated in the intros. Basically, when these players face off versus each other, I looked at the history on Wikipedia. It's like 4-3, 4-3, 5-4, 5-4. There's only a couple, 2 blowouts, which were 5-1 and 4-1. But in general, it's almost always 4-3. And wow, I was not expecting to be immediately ready for the game. So let's get into it. It's going to be Game 5. Dark Origin is the map pick.
Let's get it.
Okay, we are waiting just a couple minutes because we got into the game and Dewalt decided he wanted to off race.
That's crazy.
Not too sure if not sure if that's going to work out versus someone like you. Maybe you can do that in the round of 24, but I don't know about in the finals.
Yeah, maybe it's being a little bit too confident there, my guy. And slow your roll.
All right, now we're ready as we get into Game 5. Okay, in the top left, we do have Mihu, and in the bottom right, we do have Dewalt. And please, when that pops out, do not be rallied across the map. Thank you. I love it. I really don't think you can do anything with the Zealots here. And with that probe being rallied to the main, that means that we're not going to have any proxy gates. We still could have a forward gate, but at least it's not going to be in the guy's natural.
Right. Yeah, I'll be like in your natural instead, which is way more playable. And even though I don't want to see that. I don't want to see any kind of zealot pressure here. I just want a nice, greedy kind of game here from Dewalt and trying to get himself into a nice strong macro position for the mid game.
Braino Jack, thank you again for the huge tip.
Fighting.
If you guys are enjoying the cast and the BSL, consider making a donation like Mr. Braino Jack here or becoming a Patreon supporter. Remember, as I mentioned in every cast, Patreon support $10 or above, you can get the replays. You want to know how Mihu macros like a god? Or how Dewalt recalls a second arbor and gets his second arbor picked off by turrets? Get those replays, man, and you can make moves like that too.
Yeah, it's very enticing. I mean, very
yeah.
It's a good sales pitch there, I would say. But yeah, at the end of the day, donations are basically teamwork, and teamwork makes the dream work, as you all know. So be part of the StarCraft team, and let's keep this dream alive.
Well, look at that. Mihu actually scouted his main for gateways in the main, because Dewalt, I think in the past, like 2 or 3 seasons, he has done that. Not necessarily versus Terran, but there have been games versus PROTOSS where he makes moves like that, and he even scouts the back of his natural. So Mihu on top of it, not going to be caught by anything crazy.
Well, someone like me who's played so many thousands of high caliber games that he knows all the tiny little behavioral tree micro adjustments to just account for the possible range of shenanigery that he's going to face, right?
Yeah, he definitely does. So it was a smart scout there. Of course, we know that it's not coming this time. By the way, Shun, it is Zealot this time. I saw it shoot up to supply. I'm not happy about this.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it either. I'm on board with you on this one. I completely agree.
Hopefully this is a cancel. There, oh no. He's going to walk out there. We've got a Robocop on the move. We'll see if he can sheriff.
He's trying his stuff right now. I mean, he does look kind of majestic the way he's moving along this the Twilight tile set, but I don't know. I'm not so sure about the choice here.
Well, what makes it even worse is Terran saw it as it pops out, and that means Terran's just going to build an additional one Marine. Or he's going to do this. He's going to immediately bunker. Okay, you can also do that, and Zealot is kind of slow. Now, I guess maybe the Zealot can get there in time, but it's not going to be there for very long before the bunker completes.
The bunker's built in, like 18 seconds? Something like that? 20?
It's really quick. I mean, look at this. It's done. Now, yeah, you just run away. So this didn't really accomplish very much. Now this SCV is out hidden on the map. If this was okay, that is in a position where it could be a proxy factory, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see any kind of proxy factory from Mihu here, but proxy starport, I guess, is possible.
Oh, okay. I forgot about this. Now this move I actually do like. He's going to jump the Zealot over that mineral patch with the probe.
That's actually...
And, yeah.
No, that's actually clever. Yeah, I was just happy to see that.
Yeah, and actually this time, this is the one game where Mihu did not go Vulture first, and he also didn't build that many Marines. So actually, this Zealot could get some damage done.
This is... Okay, now we're talking Dewalt. These are the kind of adjustments we need to make when dealing with someone like Mihu. So this actually makes sense now, but... Oh, no. Oh, he has to make sure... this is much harder to do now.
No.
Oh, no. Yeah, he kind of... that's really unfortunate that he made that mistake there. Yeah, I don't want to rub salt into the wound there, but that's painful.
I've only experienced that a couple times, but every time I watched the replay of them jumping it, it never failed. And even last week,
yeah, it's not even that hard to execute. Okay, I rubbed salt in the wound. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the point is probably Dewalt has had it be successful so many times that he just was looking away, and it ended up completed the mining process. And well, now I mean the Zealot is still going to be useful here because why is he attacking with 4 Marines in a tank and that's it?
Oh, look at this body block.
Oh, the body block.
Woo! This is beautiful from Mihu. He's going to get so much damage on that Dragoon. It's already softened up to 50, and he's going to get some exit shots on that Zealot as well. I mean, he hasn't got a huge army here, but it doesn't matter. Any damage done to Dewalt's army is not going to make him a happy camper here.
That was definitely nice. Oh, and if he gets the probe, that's another probe that dies. Okay, the Vulture I don't think is going to get much damage.
Mines. Yeah, didn't get the other mine off, but this is still pretty good for Mihu. As long as he doesn't like lose this tank for free, which he won't because the other 2 Dragoons are so softened up, he can kind of bully them back. And Mihu, Dewalt doesn't know for sure where the mines are.
Yeah, he's not sure exactly. I don't think you can really push anymore with this. I think Mihu should just take his win here and back off. But he's going to try and get that goon.
I love this confidence from Mihu. It seems suicidal, but it's so well calculated. Look at this beautiful play from Mihu. It's so well calculated. This is like a beautiful textbook example of controlled aggression. I'm all about it.
Yeah, that was actually much better than I thought. I thought after the Marines died, he wasn't going to get any value, but getting 2 goons, that's fantastic. Now, Dewalt definitely has to respect the follow-up. That goon is also heavily damaged. I mean, that could die also.
Honestly, this is looking pretty dire for Dewalt. Like, he's only ahead in supply by 7 at this stage in the game. It doesn't really like give me warm fuzzy feelings about his game state right now, especially of how much Mihu's been outplaying with such a small skirmish force of units.
Reaver? Or is there a Reaver in there? Yeah, I was thinking, like, I don't think there's actually anything in here.
It's just for scouting. I guess some Terrans would be like panicky and maybe you pull your SCVs because you don't know the game state and you think there's a chance that's got a Reaver in it, so you panic. So maybe you get a bit of damage done from this, but mainly it's for scouting.
Yeah, that is definitely true, and Terran does not overreact. And that means... that well, kind of Dewalt has shown his hand here with the shuttle, right? Like he now signals like, hey, I'm going a Reaver. So I wonder if he'll... Oh, as I say that, look at that. Is that gonna be Stargates? Please be Stargates.
Oh yes.
We mentioned this.
This is what we wanted,
intro.
Nyoken. This is what we wanted, and we're gonna get it. And it's in a position that he won't scan. He might not scan that spot. He might not scan it.
Yeah, he always gets late comsat. So this could definitely be... Okay, as I say that, of course he has his academy. The one game where he has a rushed academy is the one game where Dewalt goes carriers.
Yeah, he hasn't made the comsats just yet. He's only just now starting to make the comsats. Oh, this is crazy. Like, how is Mihu like so dialed in to like what he needs to do? Like, do you think he's like the Chinese Flash or something?
He might be, because this was the perfect read. Even if he doesn't scan the carriers, he's going to scan the main and see the cybernetics spinning. There's the typical 5-fact follow-up with the delayed armory. I mean, this is as streamlined an opener as you can possibly get versus this. I already think Dewalt's dead. He needs a mirror. He needs to buy so much time. Like, Terran cannot get across these bridges. As soon as Terran gets across the bridges, the floodgates are open.
Well, this is the main issue, because like the main gambit here is that we slow the Terran's advance by abusing the bridges, and if we miss that window where the Terran just walks across the bridges more or less unchallenged, we're just in so much trouble as PROTOSS here.
Why did he scan there? He scanned once, and he scanned the carriers.
Oh, it's because he saw the core spinning.
Did he scan the main also? I guess I missed
so.
that.
He scanned the main, saw the core spinning. It's because he scanned the main first, yeah. Mihu's just on top of it, man.
Yeah, Dewalt is in massive trouble, and I still don't think there's anything in there. I don't think he ever loaded up anything, so it's just chilling. Yeah, and it's a 7-fact. This is why Mihu's style is meta these days, is because when you scan something like this, you have the flexibility to either expand or all in. He scanned carriers, now you all in, and now Dewalt's dead unless there's a miracle.
Yeah, it's crazy how versatile this style is, and it might become the defining meta, at least for the time being, until some PROTOSS players figure out ways of dealing with it, because it does seem so strong and flexible.
Yeah, because just because you build factories doesn't mean you have to build units, but PROTOSS with their observer spotting it has to respect that it could be, a timing attack. So now, okay, well, actually, there's no Goliath out.
Did Mihu
move too fast?
Okay, you stopped the SCV building the turret as well, so that's a small little win here, because that turret would have slowed down the carriers at least a little bit. So it's a small little win here for Dewalt. Maybe he can get something going, but with 7 factories pumping out Goliaths, I can't imagine he's gonna not be able to keep up with the curve of carriers here.
Oh, this is hilarious. Like 5 interceptors are gonna kill this turret, and maybe a couple of goons. Okay, 1 interceptor dies, 2 interceptors, but it's gonna be much harder to get across the bridges now with the carriers out with 8 interceptors.
He hasn't got a 3rd base as well, so he's kind of really trying to out-trade Mihu here, but I don't think he realizes just how dire the game state is and just how much production is going to be behind Mihu at this stage of the game.
Well, this is a hard map to push across the bridges. Maybe he can hold the line here. I mean, there's just not a lot of DPS on these carriers, which is why people talk about, 6 being critical mass. It's only 2, man.
Well, he's losing interceptors faster than he can build them, even if he tries to engage at this point. So he can't really hold on off this advance. Mihu can actually just warp across now.
Yeah, he can get across. There's also, I don't think there's a citadel. That means that zealots are beyond worthless. You gotta just have basically pure goon, maybe some zealots to buffer, but not that many. I did notice that PROTOSS does have +1 weapon on their carriers already. +2 is going to be really strong versus a Terran player that's going to be on 1 armory for a long time. The carriers have done a good job to stall quite a long time.
Yeah, I would say that he's done an okay job at slowing this down, but I don't know. I still feel like this is slight edge Mihu. I think the only thing that can really happen here is somehow Mihu makes a bit of an error with his army control, but I don't see that happening.
Well, it is hard to get across the bridges, not just outside of your own base, but now as trying to attack into PROTOS's side, it's going to be tough to get here because that's where all the army is. And of course, there's all these carriers also. The one way you can do that is if he had pulled 3 or 4 SCVs and you just spam a billion turrets. But I only see 1 SCV there. Despite that, the Goliaths are just shredding everything, by the way.
That's the thing, is that we might see 4 carriers on screen, but that's only 2 carriers worth of DPS. So it's kind of a bit of a misrepresentation of power levels right now, what we're seeing on screen. So Mihu's actually in a much stronger position than it looks, but that could change. If we can get some damage done in the main base and distract Mihu a little bit, and keep him worried about these goons countering, maybe something could happen.
Actually, killing this eBay is a big deal because that means he can't build any more turrets after this. He didn't get it. No way he didn't get it.
He could use the shuttle to get 2 goons up there to finish it off, but he won't.
No.
Oh,
he has
so
no
much
observers,
damage.
man. He has none, 0. because he's spending all of it. Well, I was gonna say he's spending all his gas on the carriers, but I see that he does have 700 gas left over.
Yeah, there's actually not an excuse for not having an observer at that point, Nyoken.
Well, we are at the point where carriers get extremely scary. It's 6 carriers, but he still needs about a minute longer to get all of his interceptors out. He's also going to have +2 weapon. Yeah, he already has +2 weapon, in fact. Now, if Dewalt can get across the bridges and prevent reinforcements, I think that's the way you win this game, because then Terran can't ever sync up together, and that's why you see him clearing out this part of the map.
Well, this is the main advantage of PROTOSS, is the mobility and just pulling the Terran around out of position as much as you can. So if you can abuse this terrain, this is a pretty big pocket on the 3 o'clock to abuse, and kind of keep the Terran like dancing on his feet and having to be fluid in his movements just to keep up with the PROTOSS. So maybe something can be done here for Dewalt, and he can start to surmount a comeback here.
I actually think Dewalt is in a good spot. Like,
I think you might be right, actually.
The fact that the game didn't just end, means now, Mihu 7fact is kind of all in, and that means he's also cut into his like starport and +2 timing.
I felt like Mihu had a timing where like there wasn't that many interceptors. It was just mainly dragoons. Like, I actually felt like Mihu could have done something to win the game, or at least put on the pressure. But now he's let the carrier fleet get to an almost unmanageable amount, and without a 3rd base worth of production to keep the Goliaths churning out, maybe eventually Dewalt's just going to whittle him down.
He definitely could, and now it's scary in the sense that Dewalt can start countering the natural with his carriers. Also, by the way, Dewalt picked off the comsat. Not sure what that exactly means, if he has hidden DT somewhere. Oh, the carrier's caught. This is what Mihu wanted. Can he get one of them? He gets one. That's big.
Yeah, that's big. And it needs to be. It's a really strange situation to be in, because on the one hand, I actually feel like on paper Dewalt could really abuse Mihu's lack of mobility, but I actually feel like he's not having the execution required. He's losing so many of his forces a bit unnecessarily here, and I actually think Mihu's still going to get the better of him.
I don't know, man. Carriers are so ridiculous. Look at it as they kill like 5 tanks for free. If he can pick off all these tanks, which is what he's doing, it's going to be Goon versus Goliath. And Goliaths do not beat Goon plus carrier. However, it looks like there's just a little bit too many tanks. But you can see Mihu's supply is really shot down to 110, now 125.
Dragoon's been isolated though. He's going to maybe clean up these units fairly easily.
I don't know, actually. This is still really close. The big issue for me now is Mihu lost his timing window. The carriers are at pretty big upgrades at +2, and Mihu's at +1. Like, I don't even think he has +1 armor. He definitely doesn't have +2 weapon.
On paper, it's definitely Dewalt favored. I'm just worried about Dewalt's execution and making it into a win.
There's also not a lot of support for these Goliaths. Like, what is it, 5 tanks? Like, if there's any type of real ground army, I'm talking like even 16 goons. Like, as soon as the tanks die, there's no damage on the ground, like absolutely none. And also, picking off the comsat, you're gonna lose vision of these carriers easily. Like these Goliaths were out in no man's land, they're dead.
Oh, he's killing so many of these Goliaths as well. Do you know what? Dewalt is starting to make this look like he's starting to have done it. I mean, he's got 8 carriers. He's killed so many of these Goliaths. Mihu's only just started to mine off this 3rd base, and he's already got most of his army shredded up again. So he's not going to have the critical mass of Goliaths that he wants.
Yep, it's... I don't want to call it because, again, Mihu can make comebacks, but, I mean, this is an amazing position for Dewalt. Low econ Terran that doesn't have upgrades, doesn't really have a real ground army, and PROTOSS already has the critical mass carriers. He's got 8 carriers. If he just takes another base, I don't see how Mihu punishes a 4th base without losing his 3rd base himself.
Right. I mean, 2-1 upgrades have just finished for Mihu just a moment ago, but yeah, he's behind the curve in the upgrade department, especially because of the style that he plays. And that's starting to bite him just a little bit here. And Dewalt can just abuse the terrain all day and pull him into weird positions and really start to abuse this high ground transition and use the Dragoons to rain down on those Goliaths with their phase disruption shots as well. Tanks finally getting into siege position to start shelling those goons and forcing them back, but the damage has already been done. Dewalt's keeping the gap of supply in his favor while he's still just mining away and keeping the threat strong.
Well, the 2-1 upgrade for Protoss for Terran is a really big power spike. It allows you to shred the interceptors. They take one less hit to kill. So it is a massive upgrade, which is why you see actually the interceptor count is not that high for Protoss anymore. I also noticed that Terran did actually knock down the probe at mid-right, so the 4th base has not actually started for Dewalt, and his money is getting dangerously low. I mean, look at that, almost broke at just
really
200 minerals.
Yeah, he's only got a handful of probes in the main base now mining, so he's not really got a crazy amount of income. If he is just constantly building interceptors, he won't have much left over.
Yeah, I think he needs to just chill out a little bit, wait for all the interceptors to complete so he can just pick off these Goliaths really easily. He's gonna pick off another. I mean, there's really not much ground army over here, but he's just relentlessly attacking this position. I don't think he's gonna get it, that command center. Oh, he lost the carrier!
Oh, it's so close. The Dragoons barely helped kill that command center, but he did trade a little bit of those carrier count for that. But overall, I would say that might actually be worth it given the current game state, because now Mihu just on 1 mining base.
Yeah, just 1 mining base. That means that Mihu's got all in here. And you never want to be all in versus carriers. I don't think he can rebuild that command center, but it looks like he did spend the 400 minerals. I actually think he maybe should have just floated down.
No, he's hedging his bets. But he's trying to do both. I don't think that's going to... I think that'll bite him a little bit, though. I don't think he should be trying to do both.
And look at this. Dewalt's like, okay, that's cute. You got your own army over here. Well, I'm just go kill this command center again, man. Like, that's all he has to do. Terran will run out of money.
Yeah. Yeah, Mihu's kind of just feeding Dewalt an easier win condition here. It's a really big misplay from Mihu to allow that to occur. I feel like he could have maybe also saved that command center just a little bit quicker and less cocky and just got the repair going just a few seconds sooner.
I think Dewalt just wins here. I think there's too many carriers. Goon army is decently high. What is it? Nearing 20. There is a lot of tanks, so you don't want to just, well, something we didn't consider is he can just go into the main now.
Ooh, yeah. Get on top of the production if he wants to. Or at least he can threaten it. He can threaten doing that, pull the Goliaths out of position, and then try and rain down them. But here actually he's getting maybe gets 1 exit kill on the carriers. Could have gotten 2 there. One's dangerously low on HP. So tiny victory there for Mihu, but he's still not really mining that much right now. Also is Dewalt though, just barely enough to keep churning out interceptors, but that's all he really needs in this current game state.
Aaron's just gonna run out of money eventually. I mean, look at this long distance mining. Also, by the way, when you long distance mine like this, your main command center is technically the closest. So that's why you see those Goliaths bugging out on that ramp, because the SCVs are blocking them in while they try to get to the rally point.
It doesn't factor in the terrain at all. It's literally just what hex tile is closer.
Exactly. Well, there's the +2 armor power spike I just saw kick in for Terran, so maybe he has +3 weapon coming pretty soon. His army is still really strong. I mean, he is down 40 supply, but the carriers are just running rampant on this army.
This is kind of nutty. I actually thought Dewalt might have been in a little bit of trouble here going for this play, but he's made it look a little bit too easy, I would say.
It all came to that stalling of the push. Those 2 carriers kept him across the bridges. And that's the key to victory on this map when you're going for a play like this. You just gotta stall. And you can see that the 7 fact gave him a lot of units, but there was no opportunity to actually get the killing move. And now Dewalt has the critical mass. All he has to do is just wait for Mihu to run out of money. Just pick off these units left and right for free.
Oh wow, he's going to shave off so many of these tanks with these carriers as well, and now the Dragoons can really go to work. There's not even enough tanks left over to fight the Dragoons. The carriers aren't even necessary to win the game at this point. The Dragoons can basically be on attack move and still clean up Mihu. It's absolute convincing, dominating victory here for Dewalt.
Yep. We're going to see the GG right there, and that means Dewalt, he's going to go 3-2 in the series. I do think Mihu had the perfect counter. When you scan it like that, that's exactly what you have to do. But Dewalt stalled so well, making use of those bridges and keeping Mihu away from the 3rd base. He was saying hey, I'm over here on the left, you better match me. And because of that, Mihu could never damage the 3rd, never actually got across the bridges, and it just allowed Dewalt to get what he needed to take the game.
Yeah, I feel like Mihu was just a tiny bit too reserved there. I feel like he should have been a little bit more cocky, like maybe get his tanks lined up against the bridge and then just put like, you know, one sacrificial tank slightly further forward and try and like bait a bit of a trade there, because the carriers only had like 3-4 interceptors apiece, so they didn't really have the DPS necessary to fight that army unless you got a bad trade with the goons.
Your tank bait move is a move that Light does a lot. He shows one tank. PROTOSS, they can't resist it, man. They can never resist their free tank.
Of course
and then
they
they run into like a massive, like 10 tanks in the back line and lose everything. It is a cute move to make, but man, Mihu, he's now down, which is not something you see often in BSL. It is going to be his map pick though, and if I remember correctly, next map should be Radion.
Ooh, that's a really big map. Okay, we can see an explosive game here.
Yeah, Radion, I think there are certain spawns where if it's top left versus bottom left, for example, I think that makes it really good for Terran, because if PROTOSS takes like the third base on the left side, Terran can easily push that while also defending their third base. So if we see spawns like that, I'm going to really favor Mihu there. But if it's any other spawn, like cross spawn, horizontal spawn, I think it's pretty good for PROTOSS.
I agree, 100%. Very astute observation. So what do you think? Do you think this is the map to go? Can we go 12 Nexus here now that we've got the 3-2, or do we still not go for that? It's a big map.
I think you can do it now. I think you've gone normal opener enough that you've kind of signaled like, hey, I'm just going to play normal. Kind of like what Mihu has done, where he hasn't gone gasless, not even once. Like, I don't even remember him going gasless in any of the previous BSL. So also last game, something to point out is he went immediate add-on as opposed to vulture. So maybe he started to switch off from opening vulture. So I think in that, with that also factored in, it makes 12 Nexus pretty good.
I agree. I mean, one of the things that punishes 12 Nexus is the kind of sharp style where you're getting that slightly crisper factory timing, and you get that vulture in there just before the goons are popping out, and you can, like, you know, get a few probe kills and lost mining time, what have you.
Yep, and that's only accomplished within 11 gas, which is why I always mention the 5 seconds or 6 seconds compared to a 12 gas is so important. But we are ready, and this is match point for Dewalt. Let's get into Radion. Hey, in the bottom left, we do have our Terran. It is Mihu. And in the top left, we do have our PROTOSS, one game away. It is Dewalt. And this is the exact scenario that I was talking about. I think spawns like this, it's just so good for Terran. I mean, look at the left side. Look how close those bases are, the third bases, to each other. Also, there are bridges there. If you push as Terran, not only do you defend your third, you also are probably going to kill their third. Yeah. So I really like this for Mihu here. Also, with this spawn, all of a sudden you have a direct path into the main for drops, and we've already seen him do crippling damage with them.
I hate to say it, Nyoken, but I'm a little bit worried for Dewalt with all that in mind, especially given like Mihu's play style very much factors into that as well. So I feel like Dewalt could get a little bit abused in this game. We could be going 3-0 here.
That means that we could get into an epic Game 7 on Retro. We'll see what openers are for Dewalt, and it is not going to be 12 Nexus. It's going to be the gate again. And
okay.
It seems like...
How do you feel about that? Do you feel, as a tournament player, do you feel like you can afford to play the exact same way every game? Unless you have flash level execution, is that wise?
I think in general, if everybody was around Mihu's level, then I don't think you can play the same opener all the time. But what I was going to say is I think Dewalt has recognized that the reaver play is not working, but you know what is working is everything else, like the arbiters, the stargates. If he can just play a normal opener and get into the tech, whether it's arbiter or carrier, I think he's probably thinking to himself that he's got a good shot here. And I don't blame him, because the arbiters have looked really strong. And of course, last game, he should have lost. He should have lost, but he got the carriers out and ended up winning.
Honestly, I felt like he should have gotten crushed there. I was actually surprised that Mihu was that... After the controlled aggression we saw with the tank pressure, him being that cautious with the bridges, when the carriers are already low interceptors, that was a little bit... Well, that was strange, but... Oh well. It means we get to see a longer series and all about it.
Look at this. I literally just talked about this. Mihu doesn't gasless expand, and here we go. A gasless coming in, and that's going to make, all of a sudden, all these timings that Mihu goes for, the 4-fact, 5-fact, this is just going to scale them so much quicker. It's going to be like 30 seconds to a minute faster. And if Dewalt goes for something like Arbiters now, or something like Carriers, all of a sudden, 5-fact can definitely hit before all those start kicking in.
Yeah. So this is but do you think that he should have just gone 12 Nexus here, or are you still happy with his choice of play, given that this was a possibility from Mihu?
I still think this is fine, because Mihu's never shown gasless, like almost ever. So I think in that sense, you're not expecting this to happen. Of course, if I could see the future here, of course, I want 12 Nexus versus gasless every day of the week, because 12 Nexus it cannot be killed by gasless. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, there's no timings, pretty much.
Yeah, so Mihu's going to come in here, and he will see that it looks very similar to the games that he just played. I saw range was being upgraded, but I think it was delayed in favor of this faster Nexus. Now look at this. Are you serious? I can't get in?
Doesn't quite get the full body block. Didn't actually go deep enough with that Dragoon to confirm the CC yet. Well, he did. He did already pay the price, maybe. I think he's already aware of the CC.
I think he is also because you think back to the games that he saw earlier when there was no Zealot.
Yeah.
Every game, Mihu went 3 Marines, no bunker. So he may be suspecting that this was the case. But like I said, Mihu never goes gasless, so maybe this will throw him off guard, and we're actually having a really fast 2-fact as a follow-up. I wonder if Mihu will actually try and make something like a 5 tank push.
I would like that. What's the vertical distance here? Is it like 36, 38 seconds?
I don't remember the exact timing, but I think it's a little bit quicker than other maps, just because of how you're able to defend your natural. But
this map is taller than it is wider, so I kind of get a bit deceived by the exact distances. But yeah, actually, I think a 5 tank push would be really devastating to Dewalt potentially, unless he went for like 3 gate goon, which I don't think he's going to.
I don't think he's going to go for 3 gate goon. Also, something to point out is that generally Mihu goes low tank count in the beginning. So if you're going to go gasless here and do a timing, I think 5 tanks could definitely catch Dewalt off guard.
Yeah.
In Dewalt's main, I saw he has a 2nd gate. I saw he has a robo done, but I don't think he has support bay coming, or at least I didn't notice it.
Yeah, tank actually going to put on the pressure. Dewalt wants to get some damage on there. He wants to go and challenge it, but loses 1 Dragoon for his efforts and doesn't really get a lot of damage done to that tank, and it can also just be repaired. And due to the lack of timing from any additional Dragoons showing up, he can't even like follow up on that and do another run by attempt. So this is going Mihu's way so far.
Dewalt needs to be careful. He does not want to lose another goon. He definitely doesn't want to take damage on the goons either. And Dewalt may be expanding at mid left. If this is a timing, I don't think he can expand and deal with it. I think, oh my gosh, and it is a heavy tank. This is going to be really hard to stop.
Yeah, really. This is probably without him going 1 gate into tech into 3rd base, which he probably would never do. This is about as worst as it gets for Dewalt.
And he doesn't see it coming. He didn't leave any goons out to spot. They're just going to be there at his doorstep in a second. It's also double add-ons, so speed and mines are coming. It doesn't look like it's going to be 5 tanks, just 3.
Yeah, and he also runs a far east to avoid the observer seeing the army coming. So yeah, like there's no way he can react to this in time. Like he may even just like, actually he does just barely see the skirting of that. With the vultures coming on the left, it's going to pull the army out position. But if Dewalt's not careful, he might get some of his units sandwiched between the 3rd base and his rally as well.
I think with 8 goons he can hold this. With 6, I don't think he could do it. But he's picked off one of the vultures. He's got 8.
Oh,
he's got some goons on the left side also. There's also an observer here, 2 observers. The Marines are soaking up a lot of hits, but there are a decent amount of goons on the left side. But look at the DPS from the vultures and the tanks dealing so much damage. 1 tank's gonna fall. No, it's not.
Wow, 2 tanks dangerously low will be cleaned up in short order by the remaining forces of those Dragoons coming out the rally point. Now we have 5 Dragoons. This Dragoon needs to block the ramp perfectly and make sure those vultures don't get in. Does manage to achieve that, so no probes are going to be going down. Dewalt stabilizes and holds off the attack. Supplies actually kind of looking kind of normal at this phase of the game, despite being lower than they should be, but relatively they look okay for both players. But I would actually say this has gone so well for Dewalt, considering how bad of a position he could have otherwise been in.
That was a really clutch hold there, and he has a shuttle out, but again, I didn't see support bay anywhere. I mean, I was looking very intently at the main and never saw that key building, so I'm not sure what the shuttle is for. He obviously doesn't have Citadel and Dark Templars, but okay, it's got to be a scout again.
The Mihu's done a really good job of denying the probe transfer and getting a few probe snipes and getting a lot of compensation for the push not going as ahead as it should have done. So honestly, actually, I would say Mihu's still really in the driver's seat of this game, and not only did that push maybe like accomplish what it needed to, but he's actually probably coming out ahead by doing that significant of damage to the probe count and also delaying the transfer for so long.
Indeed, I still think Mihu's in a really good spot. By the way, I was looking very closely at the command center of Mihu, and he is starting to cut here. Yep, not blinking. So this is going to be 5-fact for a timing. This is not 5-fact to take an expansion. And this is going to be the first timing on a 5-fact that we've seen the entire series. But Dewalt, he's going into actually Templar tech with no Stargate. This is exactly what you need versus a 5-fact timing. The Arbiter is going to be too late in this particular scenario. Just need Gates plus Storm.
Yeah. I mean, Dewalt actually may have the tools necessary to hold this, so I don't want to count this guy out yet, actually, and especially with how well he held that first push. I mean, he might be in the zone right now and might surprise us and actually crush the advance of Mihu as possible.
Well, surprisingly, this eBay is going to be a big factor. It's going to soak up so many shots from the... Well, okay, it's not going to be a factor because it already did.
This is huge! Oh, no, needs to be careful not to lose the goods now, though. Ooh, it takes quite a lot of damage, but doesn't actually kill that eBay critically.
When he gets the SCV also, so there's not going to be any turret here to just push the shuttle back. I mean, I guess there's a Goliath, but...
I think the eBay's burning.
It is burning, yeah. And this is why I was saying that these spawns are so good for Terran, because I can push like this. The goons are desperately trying to get rid of those tanks, but is he going to get it? There's only 2 remaining.
There's only 2 remaining. There's a little bit of minefield to slow down, gets enough time for these tanks to get into a better pocket, but yeah, it needs to be really careful, does Mihu, because a little sandwich from both sides could just pincer and snatch up these tanks in a heartbeat.
Does he have speed already? He already has... Okay, this push is done. Ooh. And this is... Oh my gosh, kills all the vultures basically for free. Now, Mihu does have a lot of production off of this, so he will be able to, come back with a follow-up pretty soon. But that's really all Dewalt needed to do to kind of, relieve a lot of this pressure, where maybe he can start going into arbiters or get another base up and running.
That's a successful damage control right there. Like he basically deflected the 2 critical timings that could have absolutely destroyed him, and so now he's in a much more playable game state, and this is no longer as scary of a position as he was once in.
And getting rid of all those tanks is amazing. Now, Terran's never going to be feeling confident to attack with like 4 or 5 tanks. You really start feeling pretty good about your pushing power once you start getting up to like 8 or 10. So it's going to be, as I say that, I was going to say it's going to be at least a minute before Mihu makes another move, but he's already out on the map with some more vultures.
There's some straggling Protoss auxiliary forces here that are in a small enough number that the vultures actually can start to dominate them with sheer numbers alone. So yeah, going to be getting a pretty decent trade. Doesn't lose all these vultures for free though. I think, taking the 4th base right now is very critical for Dewalt. He needs to be a little bit more aggressive in his expansion timing now that he's stabilized the game state.
Yep, all I would really like to see him do is just get the gateway count up, which is what he's doing right now. Get Templars and start getting some upgrades on your forge. +1 is really important for Protoss. +2 even more important, especially when Terran's delaying their upgrades like this. That is 7 factories for Mihu already, though. So he's got a lot of firepower, and he's got his 3rd base done. So he's going to be floating that over in just a moment. DT drop.
Yeah.
Not going to do much.
Ooh. Didn't quite scoop up the DT there. Is that, how many gateways is that? Is that 11 or is that 10?
I think it is 11, actually. Yeah, there is 11. And Mihu back with another push, man. And there's no cannon to stall this. But there's just so much Protoss. Oh, is there anything in there? There is actually.
Yeah, a couple of zealots, but actually the positional advantage is still favoring Mihu here with this strong fortification. So Mihu's still got a lot to work with, and you can put a lot of pressure on this third base natural of Dewalt here.
Dewalt didn't transfer his probes, man.
Oh no.
Oh no, there's no way he's winning this fight. Unless there's
no.
Storm. Okay, Storm on the bridge. Okay. Mihu, he's gonna kill the rest of these Dragoons. He needs to, oh no, he lost his goons at the natural, but despite that, Dewalt's supply is still so high. I don't know how this is happening. Those probes, how did they survive?
Yeah, they're getting away with murder right now. Those probes, like, narrowly escaping with their lives just because of the storms, buying some precious time. Also going to get the transfer to the 12 unchecked as well, so he's going to be sacrificing this base, I think, at the natural third, but does have this transfer going off. This is still really favoring Mihu, but Dewalt is still hanging into the game.
Dewalt definitely not out of it just yet, but the fact that Mihu killed this base while also saving all those tanks is really good. Also got rid of the shuttle and got rid of, a couple of those Templars. Dewalt is still up 25 supply, but I mean, this army is just so strong that actually it's not that many tanks here. I think Mihu needs to consider. Oh, he's sieging up instead. He's gonna try and engage. Where's the Storm?
Yeah, he needs Storm. He splashed. One Storm. Oh, that's a beautiful Sonic Storm on that Terran metal, just tearing it apart. And the Phase Disruptors and Side Blades are going to make short work with the remainder as well. Dewalt keeping control over this game state that looked so tempo swingy. And now he can start to expand in the top right, split the map horizontally, and actually start to get a second rally point going. And actually look pretty. He could even go carriers, actually, if he wanted to from here.
I guess he could try that. But Mihu's got his third base up and running, so he's got big econ. It's still anybody's game. Supplies are really, really close, 143 to 126. Dewalt needs to get another base. Okay, as I say that, he takes top right, and it looks like these goons are going to get caught by these vultures and tanks.
Yeah, he needs to buy a little bit more time. Stay fluid in the center of the map.
Okay, he sniped that goon. I thought he was going to run into it. But he's still losing so many goons.
There's no numbers telling you where the mines are in this game, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh, those mines in the back, they may get a big connection if those goons try and save top right from vulture play. This is still such a dangerous push. I mean, if you look at the comp of Protoss, it's almost pure goon. That's not going to beat what Terran has right now. So he needs to get some more zealots in here. Maybe mix in a DT, try and pull a mine shot or a big mine hit into the tanks.
Well, critically, I think he needs to make sure he can escort a probe transfer to top right as well. Like, he needs to keep his economy growing to have any chance at trading well with Mihu.
I'm still waiting for, that right there, the vessel to come out. I'm waiting for that clutch EMP. Now that he's got oh my god, he ate big mine shots. This could be the game-winning move for Mihu, but is it enough? No, it's not, I don't think. Protoss is going to just bully their way through this army. No, they're not. Tanks and vultures holding the line.
This is wild, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like just when you thought that you had the propaganda you needed to prove how OP Protoss was, we see things like that, huh?
I thought Terran was actually going to win that fight until those storms connected on top of those tanks really started to swing it in Protoss's favor. Now Terran's just going to kind of chill out, just sit here with his army, start taking his fourth base. Dewalt has his fourth nexus up, but hasn't transferred any workers over there.
I mean, this is kind of an interesting game, honestly. Like, I thought Mihu would be in a much more dominating position, but Dewalt so far has held the line, though. Mihu is starting to tighten the noose just a little bit. He's got still quite a lot of territory under his control, but we are getting this probe transfer into the top right critically, so we can start churning out more and more minerals and keep the production going and try and stay ahead of the curve with our production. Currently, supplies only just slightly ahead of Mihu by 20.
Bottom middle command center got killed or canceled. Oh, nice. Storm drop! Storm drop!
Storm. Oh no, they get sniped! No storm drop going. You need to cut the head off the snake at this point in the game and actually do critical damage to the Terran's economy, or you probably will not be faring well in the open field trading with him.
Well, he did a good job denying the fourth base, because remember, it's a gasless opener. That means main's mined out. Look, he's transferring his workers now. Yeah. Naturals can be mined out in just a second. That means if DeWalt stalls the game like he did, he's going to be 3 base mining versus just 1.
This is very playable for Dewalt. Even though on paper it looks like Mihu's doing pretty good right now with the supplies and the map control we have. Okay. We got a quick
There must
pause
have been
here from
some
Dewalt.
issue. Probably a keyboard issue or something.
Yeah. Alright, back into the action right away. Well, this Dragoon is completely isolated though. Like, he can't afford to lose this infantry like this.
Oh my god, that is so many zealots. That is just so many. I mean, zealots are strong, but zealots need.
Maybe he's trying to bait
something
the
to help
vultures
them.
out of position, then he bowls over the tanks of the...
Oh, those probes. Those are so many open probes, but luckily the vultures are at the bottom side of the map to not intercept them.
I thought it'd be so funny if he like bowled over the rest of the army with the zealots while the vultures were distracted in the bottom right.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually surprised that Mihu didn't attack. He's still in siege. He didn't even unsiege. I guess he was thinking that maybe PROTOSS was going to make a move, and here comes PROTOSS. PROTOSS is bleeding off a lot of zealots here. There's another, I think, another drop going to mid left in just a minute, because the shuttle is set up for a move like that. Remember, this is like where all the SCVs are, or at least the majority of them. So if a storm goes off, it's going to deal a lot of damage.
I feel like he needs to be setting down a lot more gateways, like in the top right. At least 4 gateways going down in the top right now.
I don't know what Dewalt does here. I mean, look at the supply. He's down supply. There's now EMP and stuff out in the map. It's 4 base versus 4 base. Terran generally wins that, and the tank count has not been reset really. That oh my gosh, PROTOSS is losing so much here.
I think he should be avoiding any kind of like confrontation with the main Terran army and instead just be going for storm drops and setting up more gateway infrastructure and taking another rally point and getting that set up and then like pushing for more bases and like trying to fight the Terran like indirectly.
Well, it's about to get ugly. There's no retreating now. You've got to fight. You are stuck on the bridges.
He doesn't even finish off that supply depot.
Yep, Terran took this opportunity to catch the army. If there's another storm, it would be great, but he ran out of energy.
Oh, this is brutal to watch. The Mihu currently ahead in supply for the first time in quite some time. Very indicative of the game state. Dewalt just not trading well at all.
It's going to be really rough for Dewalt now. And Mihu, he knows that he just had a massive win. He's going to start pushing to try and knock down that third base. If he cuts off the third base, I guess technically PROTOSS will be on 2-base mining still because he's just now gotten top right up. But Mihu is in a dominant position. Again, the tanks just have not been killed. They've been damaged, but they've not been killed.
Yeah, he softened up the Terran army quite well, but yeah, like you say, not really getting like the combo splash you need to start to break apart the siege tank count.
I think all he can do now is, save those probes. He's got his mid-left base up, but he's down 20 supply. He's trying to tech into Arbiters. I guess if Mihu somehow loses his army, Dewalt could be back in this game, but there needs to be an absolute miracle. There's so many tanks here. There's also not a lot of vision on the left side, so like laying 1 million mines would be a huge deterrent.
Well, Dewalt actually hasn't been really mining a lot of gas, to be honest with you, so he's not even been able to have like the kind of crazy amount of high Templars he needs to just blanket a mass amounts of storms onto this army.
This could be the final engagement. I realize Dewalt has still a big bank, but okay, the tanks were not as close to the other tanks as I thought. I thought PROTOSS's army would get baited in there, but he doesn't lose the whole army. He still has a fighting chance.
Do you think that it, like, realistically, Dewalt can actually like think of a way of like, without Mihu making some crazy blunder, can he actually like find a way of winning here?
I think the only thing he can do is try and make it weird like he did on Dark Origin. I think you got to cut off reinforcements, try and, pray for a miracle. Like if there was a DT here and it snuck in while this action was happening on the middle of the map, maybe Mihu misses a scan, doesn't kill it, and the whole army gets wiped. I think this is all really Dewalt can do. I don't think he can save top right. He'd lose too much. So he's going to try and counter and take down this command center. He's going to force a lift, but Terran's army the rally point army is massive.
Yeah, I don't think he can beat either army at this point. Like, how can he? There's no way he can't. Yeah, I think this is just going to be GG. Like, he can't even beat one of these armies on either side of the map.
And despite all this action happening on the bottom side, top right nexus natural died and immediately the tanks reposition for the main. So, like, in a blink of an eye, 2 bases are going to go down. There's the DT that I was talking about, but it's way too late. Dewalt's basically not mining anymore. And
Mihu's a monster. It's just crazy watching this guy play.
yeah, he's pretty nuts. And not only does he lose both Nexuses, this was all the probes up there. Like, he has, what, 3 probes mining mid-left, or did?
Yeah. There's nothing really to be said about this game at the moment. I don't think anything would suffice. It could be like Donnie Darko or something, like a jet engine could fall on like Mihu's house right now, I suppose, or like, you know, the internet lines get cut or something. But short of that, I don't really see Dewalt winning here.
I guess it could be deceiving the supplies simply because PROTOSS has no probes. Like, you know, maybe it's actually, if you factor in 0 probes here, the army values are relatively close, but I don't even think that's the case.
Yeah.
I think D Matrix EMP just completely eliminates any possibility of Storm, you know, making some type of miracle play here. Here comes the shuttle bomb, and I don't. Okay, well, there's the EMP. It's all of the Dragoons, and yeah, he can't even kill this army.
Well, he might just barely kill this army, but it doesn't matter because there's another army that's going to be like coming behind him in just a few seconds here.
With reinforcements, he's going to clean it up, and that means we're going to Game 7, and we're going to be on Retro. And I think this is, again, once again, a good map for Terran. There's so many times I've played on this map where Terrans just camp their 3rd or 4th base. Protoss, you know, attacks into the tiny choke between your natural and the 3rd, and they just get eaten alive. And the way Mihu is immediately countering moves like that, Dewalt's going to need to be on his A game there, make sure he does not misstep at all, because if he does, bases are going to be falling left and right. There it is.
Yeah, there's the GG. Looks like a bit of frustration and fatigue on the face of Dewalt there at the end.
Well, he did make a pause in the game, and if you noticed, if you were to rewind, as soon as he paused and came back, all those goons on the right side got caught.
Yeah.
And he may have like thought to himself, "Oh my God, I paused the game and I forgot about these goons." And those goons would have helped for sure. They died to vultures, which is obviously a massive win for Terran.
Yeah, and even just having to pause the game and being thrown off your ebb and flow, and then a mistake happening just after the pause, like the amount of like mental toll that can take on you while you're trying to like fight for your tournament life at this stage, like, yeah, that's mind-numbing to have to deal with.
Indeed it is. Either way, it was a nice mix-up from Mihu there with the gasless into the 5-fact timing. He got good spawns for the push that I was talking about. Dewalt dealt with it really well. I thought after he dealt with it, especially the second time, I thought, damn, maybe Dewalt can actually do it, but the gasless power spike is just really ridiculous, and the trades always went in favor of Mihu, so he's looking really good as we go into Game 7. And I wonder if we will see another gasless opener. I wonder what Dewalt is thinking here, because
well, to be honest with you, with Retro as well, you have the option of just taking the center as your 4th as Terran, so you can attack and defend really easily if you want to.
That is true. In fact, a lot of players do that. Like, they just take the center, they go and kill bases while also defending the center. It's a really powerful style.
Yeah, it's turning it into a bit of a chess game, right, when you think about it, taking control of the center like that.
Indeed. And we've talked about 12 Nexus being a possibility. I could actually see it being pulled out here. I think I would like that.
But do you do that on game point this stage of the tournament?
Well, that's why you do it.
Yeah.
Because it is not going to be expected, and it's a powerful build. Even if you think it's coming, Mihu hasn't been going 11 gas to punish it. Like, it's been 12 gas or gasless. If I think the chances that Mihu can gasless again are, you know, a non-zero number, all of a sudden 12 Nexus shoots up in probability.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see it myself as well. I'm actually kind of shocked we haven't seen a single 12 Nexus so far. So we kind of strange if we go the whole series, all 7 games, and not a single 12 Nexus. Although it'd be kind of commendable. A lot of players would respect Dewalt if he wins without a 12 Nexus, right?
Yeah. He could also be baiting, saying, like, I don't need the 12 Nexus here. I'm waiting to save it for the best of 9. Where I go back to back to back 12 Nexus or something.
Yeah,
insane.
really throw you off.
Because, I mean, I feel like I was thinking the same thing with Moneth a few seasons ago. It's like, man, it's kind of weird that we haven't seen any 2-gates in his base versus Zergal. And then he just waited for the finals to pull it out.
Yeah, we could be seeing something like that here from Dewalt as well, with that mentality.
Well, it looks like players are not ready yet, but they should be ready soon. So with that, we're gonna say thank you again to the donations today. We had a couple come in, puts us closer towards the BSL goal.
A couple big ones.
Yeah, we had a couple big ones, and as you can see, if you are interested in supporting BSL through the shop, definitely use that BSL code. You can get a shirt, you can get some sweatshirts. So the sweatshirt I'm wearing on stream is from BSL. I pretty much wear it every day, actually. I definitely recommend that if you're interested in something like that.
Yeah, it's really cool looking merch. You guys should definitely try and snag some up.
All right, we are ready, and this is it. This is Game 7. We've gone the distance. It's retro between Dewalt and Mihu. Okay, in the bottom left, we do have Mihu, and in the bottom right, we do have Dewalt. And now we've got horizontal spawns here. I think in this particular scenario, this is really good for Terran. You've got horizontal spawns, close rush distances. You've also got that third base, which overlooks the PROTOSS natural. And if you ever get up like a tank vulture mine turret set up like that, it is really hard to dislodge Terran from that position. And look at this. Is this going to be... No. Oh, it could be low ground gate.
Yeah, low ground gateway with that pylon placement, I would say so.
Props to Dewalt here, mixing in another build. He's done like 5 or 6 different openers so far. We had the Dark Origin game with the Star carriers. We had Lobotomy with the proxy gates. We've had skipped range into Nexus, fast robo. We've had Reaver. We had Templar last game. We had Arbiter. I mean, we're pulling out all the stops. As PROTOSS.
Even though Mihu will probably be able to deflect too much damage here, he also might not be thinking that this is going to be a possible play.
Definitely could be the case. There's the barracks way far away from the main base. Going to be putting that depot towards the right side for a little bit of Sim City. Now, what I'm most curious about is how many zealots is it going to be? My experience, generally, it's like 3. Could be as low as 2.
3 is the magic number, I think, generally speaking, but there's a lot to be said for like being a little bit, you know, min-maxy and sometimes only going for 2 and what have you.
Yeah, definitely can go just 2, but I think you're right. 3 is the most common follow-up. There's also the potential for Dewalt to go straight Nexus, but as I say that, there is the gas coming down, so it's going to be multiple zealots into cybernetics, and PROTOSS is going to find Mihu in the next scout, whereas Terran may actually find Dewalt last. It depends if he's in scouts here.
No. Well,
he didn't.
Oh, yeah, he didn't. So I'm curious just how much damage this is going to do, because we might finally see some zealot pressure really go Dewalt's way, and Mihu might not be expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, I just have never seen Mihu take damage to a zealot. So we'll see if this backfires. Well, for the first time, I think, in the entire series, Marines are on low ground. Ooh. Okay, he's going to have to run. He already got hit by a probe twice.
Yeah, he completely wasn't expecting this at all, like we thought, and does do a little bit of a decent block with the SCV, but so far so good. Also has the probe alive and healthy to help out here. Does want to target that down and get that out of the equation, but takes a couple of punches for the effort. 1 Marine isolated as well, so gets 2 Marine kills. Here we go. Now Dewalt has something to play for. Second Zealot is just down the ramp and on the way, and this Zealot in the main base is already still pretty healthy, so a lot could be done here. A lot of pressure can be applied to Mihu.
By the way, something we didn't even talk about was it was going to be a gasless. I didn't even realize that Mihu had gone for gasless, and he panic built gas in response because he doesn't have anything except for Marines to help to deal with this rallied zealot. This game could just be over. If there's a single goon, he can run past the bunker with 2 zealots and a goon.
Yeah. I mean, one thing going for Mihu was he got a pretty good surround on that Zealot with the SCVs to help deal with this a little bit, but still is in a very dire situation. This factory is not even close to that wall in either, so like he can't really even defend this SCV that effectively.
Well, the Zealot did relent on that SCV at the natural, I think, so the bunker could be being built. But if the Goon just runs by this game, I don't think this game can be saved. SCVs are not that strong with no support.
He's done it. Oh my god, this is crazy. Is Dewalt just going to win here like this? This is insane, Nyoken.
This is the first time I've seen Zealots actually do damage to Mihu. He's actually gonna maybe... Ooh. Oh, look at that SCV surround.
The Goon is trapped. He can't get out. No, not like this. Not like this.
Wow, that was a game-saving move right there, because Mihu should have already been in the BattleNet lobby. He has like absolutely no chance of holding that, but he clutches it there, gets rid of both the Zealots, gets rid of the Goon. Now he can actually put down a command center at a relatively decent time to the Nexus. Like, the Nexus just started.
Oh, this is crazy. Like, what an epic series we've been, like, privileged to watch here today, Nyoken. I'm happy just to chill and enjoy some good StarCraft. This is awesome.
Indeed, and Mihu has his factory done. He's going to be able to get a tank out to deal with these ranged Goons. And if we look at the supplies, you know, they're not exactly the greatest for Terran, but he can definitely play out of it.
Yeah, and Dewalt is the kind of PROTOSS player that target fires the bunker with the Goons. You can exploit that by just unloading the Marines and getting some free shots on that.
Good micro right there for Mihu to save his bunker. If he doesn't pull those Marines out like that, the bunker dies. And most likely all the Marines... Oh my gosh, a DT drop! I love it!
Oh, this is it! This is exactly what we need to do in this situation. I love the... Okay. I really hope that Dewalt wins this, because then he would have won this entire series, a best of 7 against Mihu without a single Nexus first. Come on.
He played different builds almost every single time. By the way, this was a Starport follow-up. He may be thinking that Dewalt did so much damage that he's going to go fast Reaver to try to end the game, and maybe he goes Wraith, but it's not going to be a Reaver. It's going to be a DT drop. I don't see an eBay. I don't see an Academy.
Oh, has he done it? Has he? I don't think he's got anything to counter this, right?
I don't think so. Also, he doesn't have any mines. Now, he like I said last game, he is someone that prioritizes vultures over tanks. Like, he built a lot of vultures in the beginning. But if you think back to what we've seen, a lot of the time he's been putting his mines at the natural first. And if a DT drop comes in, I mean, he can just reload. And there's still no eBay. This game's over.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful play from Dewalt. I'm so impressed by him.
This was the perfect... Oh my gosh, he's even just diving, like trying to draw attention away, trying to disrupt, you know, the flow in the build order of Mihu as much as possible. But like, hey, dude, if you didn't have an eBay, don't even think about building one now.
Yes, it's very deceiving him, like making him think that this is not even a potential play that's coming. And this eBay's at 7 minutes.
That is super late. That is really late. I mean, even if it was a delayed Reaver, I mean, this is extremely... Now, this can get wild because we're going to have drop versus drop, but Dewalt has sent his Goons back right in the nick of time.
Oh, I love this so much. Dewalt is so good, Nyoken.
This is perfect play. The drop, it's going to see the shuttle, but he's not... I guarantee you he's not expecting this to be DTs. He's thinking that this is Reaver.
Yeah, and we have the Dragoons in position to shut down the Vulture drop as well. Like, he's gonna... I wish I could see Mihu's face where these DTs unload.
Oh, what's happening? The DTs are bugging out. They can't kill the turret. Okay, there we go. Now he's getting on top of it, shutting that down. DT in near the production, gonna try and prevent the Marines from getting there. And the drop of Mihu hasn't unloaded yet. Dewalt has kind of lost the tension of that. And Vultures actually do unload. Can Mihu nullify the damage that the DT's done? He's already killed one of them.
The other turret might finish in the main base momentarily. He's distracted by dealing with these Vultures enough that he actually has stabilized quite significantly in his main base. Turret finishes up and now can chase away his DT. He can put some pressure onto the depots out of range of that turret. Has delayed a bit of mining time here, but... Huge mine hits.
Yeah, both of the Goons die, and that means that he actually gets like 3 or 4 workers there. So Dewalt, who had a massive advantage, I mean, yes, he did damage in the main with the DT for sure. He also forced a big SCV transfer. But once again, this is definitely playable. Like, Mihu could potentially start scaling into factories and make it timing. You can see Dewalt is playing crazy. He's got a Stargate already done.
Yeah, and third base on the way as well, just starting up now. The Wraith, though, will be able to get the chase down on this shuttle, so that's definitely going to die. But with this DT out being annoying, you might slow down these factories being built and just, disrupt the ebb and flow, like you were saying earlier, of Mihu enough that maybe he can find himself a very playable game state in the coming stage.
Yeah, Mihu forgot to build a turret at his rally point, or his production point right here. And actually, all that did was bait the DT into the SCV.
It just made the situation worse. He should have gone for that play anyway, but now he's definitely going to go for it.
Oh my gosh. And if we look at the money of Mihu, he's struggling, man. He just kind of started the academy. It's not even done. There's no comp set anytime soon. He can also, by the way, he can put the DT on hold position at the ramp.
Yeah.
And nothing can get by. And he can just bust it with goons. Please do that.
Actually, no, the turret from the low ground, I think, just barely still sees it with the high ground vision, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, just barely. Like, it's just barely on the corner.
Oh, there goes DT. Hold position. Either way, Zealots are going to unload on this tank, and this could be it.
Oh, the tanks are bugged!
Yeah, they're bugged out!
This is the best case scenario for Dewalt!
They bug out at the worst time. And that means that this is it. GG! And Dewalt, he wins 4-3, and that means he's going to be our first finalist in BSL18. Of course, we have a loser's bracket, so Mihu's not out of it, but Dewalt taking down Mihu for, I think, is it one of the few times ever in BSL?
Wow, come on guys, I'm hyped now.
That was sick, man. Like we were saying, different builds every single time. I actually did not expect Mihu to back-to-back asses. I thought there's no way in hell that he was going to do it, but he did it, and Dewalt mixed in the Zealot pressure, and it was perfect.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier on, like, I'm not sure, like, choosing the same style over and over again in a series like this is going to be wise, and I feel like that's actually the thing that really punished Mihu in this.
Yeah, he tried to start mixing it up at the end, and it just backfired this one time in Game 7. Of course, Game 6 with the gases was amazing, especially because he also heat up those spawns. But damn, Dewalt, man, he ends up taking the series. I'm trying to look at their overall head-to-head in BSL. I know from casting previous BSL set in general, I feel like Mihu has just dominated in BSL. Yeah, in season 17, by the way, 5-1, Mihu won.
Ooh.
In season 16, it was really close, 4-3, and Dewalt won in a previous round, 2-1. In season 14, also 4-3 for Mihu, and in season 13, it was 4-1 for Mihu. So in general, in BSL, Mihu generally crushes, but this time around, Dewalt has finally gotten some redemption.
Yeah. I would love to see him go all the way as well. Like, this guy's a beautiful gamer. I would really want to see him do well in the ASL qualifiers at some point as well. I know he's capable of it. One of the few that is.
Yeah. And actually, before today's pass started, I was thinking exactly of this scenario. Mihu goes down to the bottom side. Who beats him from the bottom side? Do you think anybody can beat him from the bottom side? Like, Bonnet is really good, but Mihu just beat Bonnet 3-1. John Moon, really good, but Mihu's Wikipedia page, they call him Mihu the Great.
Rematch in the finals, you're saying?
Yeah, I think it could be rematch in the finals.
I think you might be right.
Well, we are going to be going into a break, guys, and then we'll be back with our losers match, which is going to be another epic one. It's going to be John Hoon facing off versus Bonnet, so you definitely don't want to miss that one.
We do down Johannesburg way.